don't know, man. I get this I'm not even kidding when I'm saying this. Sometimes I feel like I have a split personality. Like I'm really childlike and really nuts, and then sometimes I'm really like,
Oh,
man,
fuck.
I don't know which one is me. So today I woke up feeling like super childlike and ready to talk shit,
Oh,
and
shit.
like I have no idea. I don't like you. How do you know which is the true self? Because both are technically you,
Bro,
right?
however you're feeling is the true self, man. You are the true self. That's all that fucking matters, bro. By the way, have you been having that bulletproof coffee or no?
I stopped for a week. Um, stopped for a week, but I'll start again. I
Why
was
do you
just
stop,
gonna.
bro?
I changed my morning habit uh, to actually doing 1 liter of water upon waking.
Yeah.
So that the time then between the 1 liter of water and the bulletproof and breakfast, that gap was too much. So what I'm going to do is get into this habit because I couldn't finish my water in a day. Um, so I'm doing the morning thing and let me do it for a week and then I'll get bulletproof back in once I get the timing right.
Nice,
'Cause
man.
otherwise, I had that huge morning gap. The fucking bulletproof's amazing, man.
Shit. How much water do you drink in a day, though?
4 liters, 4 liters,
4 liters.
4.5, 4.5.
How did you arrive at that number, bro?
Well, um, honestly, because this guy gave me a diet a long time ago,
Yeah.
um, and he said the minimum you got to hit is 4 liters of water per day. So that was what he had told me, and then recently I kind of and that seemed to work like intuitively.
Hmm.
And I'm taking creatine, so that also suggests that you should be at that number.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I was talking about this guy Charles Poliquin, right? That Olympic coach.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, so it's pretty interesting. So he really quantifies a lot of things that are just like articles otherwise or just like random numbers. So what he said is you got to do 3.3 ml of water per kilo of body weight, which is no per kilo. Does that make sense?
No, it's probably 30 ml per kilo
Fucking hell.
or 300 ml per kilo. Because if it's 300 ml per kilo, that's
It would work out to 3 liters a day for a like a normal 100 kilo guy.
who the fuck is normal at 100 kilos at the same time, bro?
Most of his clients.
The fuck?
No, but
Yeah.
basically what he said, it basically what the math worked out to. I'll pull out that article. The math worked out to like a 68 kilo dude, you need a minimum of like almost 3 liters a day
Yeah.
is the minimum. And he said that's the minimum you do. And if you're in a hot climate, it's more than that. And if you exercise, it's more than that. But that depends upon water loss through heat and exercise. But he said that is the bare minimum and that you can use that standard for any person.
Ooh,
Um,
makes sense, man.
what research showed. Yeah. So it worked out to that number. So I was like, it's really close to that number anyway.
Yeah.
So then might as well stick to that. Yeah.
Yeah, bro, makes sense, man. Because I've been so the thing is past 2 weeks I've been playing like tennis on Sunday.
Yeah.
And the thing is I don't know why, but I've always been I've been hydrating myself as I'm on my way there. So I definitely get dehydrated, man. For the past like fucking, I've carried like 2 bottles of water, like one with BCAAs in it, one with like essential amino acids in it. And
Yeah.
then mix that stuff up. Then I had I took Gatorade, but I didn't have Gatorade, and then took a fuckload of water. But I
Yeah,
read
man.
somewhere that you have like in order to actually get the most out of your thing, you need to start hydrating yourself 90 minutes before you work out. That's when
Yeah.
you're actually like if you're feeling thirsty 90 minutes before your workout, then you're going to be dehydrated through your workout. I don't know where I read that. Maybe you introduced me to it. I don't know.
No, I didn't, but I experienced something similar years ago. I remember when I went to Leh and then you went to Leh after.
Yeah.
A Pahadi taught me that. He was a local, and I was on the bus, and we were just chatting about altitude sickness because I didn't take Dimox when I went there, the thing that increases your blood count.
Yeah.
I didn't take that, right? I just naturally went to Leh and chilled, and it was fine.
Yeah,
so I asked him there. I said, "What's the scene with altitude sickness? How does it work?"
Yeah.
So he said, "Altitude sickness, primarily the main part that affects you is dehydration, but people don't understand that."
Really?
Yeah,
Dude, I
exactly.
fucking
And
didn't
he's
know
a, he
that,
was a
man.
he was very well spoken, educated in the city, but a local of Leh, a villager from there. And he said it's dehydration. I said, what do you mean? So he said, what happens is the air is very dry, so your lungs dry out. They start drying out. So I said, okay, so what are you supposed to do about that? He said, you need to keep hydrated through the day more than you do normally. But here's the thing. So I said, what's the
Hmm.
thing? He said, there are about three stages to dehydration. And he said, weirdly, thirst is the third
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
sign of dehydration.
yeah, yeah.
And that for me was like mind blowing because I always thought you're thirsty drink. I always thought that's the first indication. He said, no. He said, the first one is slight like loss of focus or less energy is the first one.
Yeah,
The next is a mild, really mild headache. Not like, oh, I have a migraine, I have a headache. Like a really mild headache.
I get
And
it.
the third is thirst. I
Oh,
was like, whoa, what? So he said, as soon as you're even feeling mildly tired, no, that's the first sign that you got to be sipping on water. He just said, just keep sipping through the day, keep sipping, keep sipping. And I did that, and it was a rocking trip, man.
do yeah,
There was
man.
nothing.
But here's
Yeah,
the thing about Leh, it's also arid, right? Like you're basically in a desert in the
right,
fucking in the mountains.
right, right.
So yeah, definitely you need to hydrate the shit out. I
Yeah, so I
actually
guess
know.
half,
So you
you
guess
know,
half?
no, I was going to say half is probably the difference in pressure on the blood count, but another large part of it is hydration,
Yeah,
which you can control. What were
yeah.
you saying?
I was like, dude, I know someone who died in Leh, man. Like
Like,
someone,
like one on one, like as you know the person.
like someone from the family died. Like I
Oh
like
shit!
I don't know them directly,
Yeah.
but I've heard of like this person died when they went to Leh,
Oh
and it
shit!
was because they took the flight to that altitude.
Yeah.
I think it's somewhere around four, like I think Leh is at 4 or 5,000 feet above sea level.
10,000.
Ten
Yeah.
thousand, dude,
Yeah,
that's
it's high,
crazy.
man.
Yeah,
Leh the Leh is 10,000, and then when you go up to those other places, Khardungla and all goes up to 18, 16, 18.
16,
Um,
dude, yeah,
but
man.
Leh is 10,000. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just fucking terrible idea to take a flight there, bro. People just
Yeah.
fly there straight away and then they lie down for like they're supposed to be lying down for 2 days till their body gets used to the height.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
fucking for some fuck all reason, people don't do that. People start walking around. So this lady
Yeah.
decided to climb a hill. She landed in Leh. Nobody fucking told her about altitude
Protocol.
sickness and all. She just took that altitude sickness pill and she
Yeah.
thought that that's going to solve everything. And then she decided to walk up a hill. And she's like
Yeah.
obviously obese and like doesn't take care of herself.
Right.
Obviously, because she didn't find out about it and things like
Right.
that. And then she got a heart attack as she was walking up a hill.
Man. Man.
That's messed up.
Yeah, that is. Don't smile.
That's why not smile? I mean, I'm not laughing at the fact that she's dead. It sucks that she's dead, man.
No, we're smiling because we're happy to see each other. But yeah, that's really messed up, man.
Yeah, that is fucked up.
Um, it happened a couple of years ago. I don't know, man. It should be protocol. It should be protocol that on an airline, your flight that's going directly there, you should be educated on that on the flight just as a safety measure. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
it's not the first time that's happened. That happens often. Happens often. I remember there was a film crew a couple of years ago, like 3 years ago. I
yeah,
think it was for Reliance production where they went up there. And film crews are really hectic. Like you get there, you get to work, chop
fucking run
chop,
around.
you run up and down, and one of those guys just popped it. Like literally, there. They probably didn't give the gap. He was supposed to work his work, go for it. Your body feels okay initially, and that was it.
Yeah, I can imagine because on one level you're fucking dehydrated. On another level, you got like all kinds of. You also, I think, like because of the increased number of blood cells and the counter pressure and things like that, your blood it fucks with your blood pressure as well. So it can cause like all kinds
Yeah,
of strokes and clotting in your brain and fuck all like that as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's go
People,
on a cycle trip to Leh, man.
I don't mind really. Actually, it's super cheap as well. It's not expensive. And if four or five of us go, people have cycled. I
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like, yeah, one of my friends is a tour guide. I think you met him also. We went for dinner.
Really sweet guy. Yeah, yeah. In Manali, you introduced me to him.
Yeah, that dude. He was. He said that no, like people bike, but they rarely bike. Like
Yeah, right.
it's not like people don't fucking like people. Apparently, you go in 150 kilometers one way, and then people have decided like this is fucking too much. You were just doing like 20 kilometers one way, and shit. It's really fucked up, bro. So yeah,
it's
it's not a like people don't do it all the time.
yeah, you've been on the route, you've seen it, right? Like, I think part of it is like beauty for a bit, but then let's be honest, after you get up Rotang, which is like what, 40K max from
12,000,
Manali,
12,000. Yeah,
12,000 feet, but 40 kilometers cycling,
yeah,
and then if you get to Leh, it basically almost looks the same. I mean, magnificent
yeah.
with
It's
slight
fucking beautiful.
variations, but it's almost 500 kilometers of like desert dust and beautiful desert dust and blue sky. But like I can imagine that 500 kilometers being a bit like, all right, man, let's get there.
Also,
Like I,
also because you don't give a shit about nature enough to do that for like 2 weeks, right?
that's true. That's true. I don't.
Because I know a few people who'll be like, "Fuck it, dude, it's amazing." Like they'll be like, "Oh, I cycled 60 kilometers a day. I got to Leh Ladakh in 20 days, and every night I looked up in the sky, and I was so thankful to be alive and all that shit." But
Yeah,
I know that
yeah,
I'm going to get fed up in a week, and I know that you would get fed up in a
yeah,
week. But I
yeah.
definitely know a
You
couple of people who like really love it.
would
Would
like that.
yeah, bro. Not me. I not.
Yeah.
It's not for me, bro.
Same, same. I think that was I don't know if you remember it, but there was this one creature that is there along the route, sort of like a weasel or like a meerkat or something that pops up. I forgot the name, man.
Ooh,
Kirkot or some some local thing.
yeah.
Marmot? No, marmot? No, something. But like everyone gets really excited when you see that. So you're on the bus and then it'll just pop out from the ground and everyone gets really
What the
excited
fuck?
and go down. Yeah, but I think there's only like so many of those that would excite me for 7 days. You know what I
Seven,
mean?
exactly. And the look on people's faces, man. Because every time we'd go by on the bus, and these
Yeah.
guys were cycling uphill, you because the fantasy in your head is like, oh shit, I'm gonna go. It's gonna be
Yeah.
amazing. There's gonna be wind in my hair. The sun's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be nice and cool. I'm gonna be with my friends. We're gonna laugh as
Yeah.
we're fucking cycling up. But the reality is like, fuck my life. Fuck my life. So
For sure,
there's
man.
definitely a comparison which is really messed up.
I don't know if you remember the drivers, the army bus drivers, or not army. I shouldn't take that, but like the ex, whoever the bus drivers are on the public buses. I don't know if you remember that scene. I had a pretty like
Yeah,
wild
yeah, yeah, yeah.
experience. I don't know what yours
Those
was.
guys are wild, man. Those yeah.
Yeah,
Because on my way up to Leh, I think there was the two shift bus, which means you go midway to Leh,
yeah,
you stay for a day. I think this place
yeah,
called Kelong, and
yeah, yeah,
then you leave the next day via you find another bus, and
yeah,
then you go straight ahead. Now
yeah.
that's just the regular way, but there's also a one short way,
Oh man,
which is like no fucking stops straight.
that's
And
insane.
dude, I took that on my way back,
Yeah.
and that I swear that guy like a lot of people take jobs for a lot of reasons, but he did not take that job for money, bro. There was no way he fucking took that shit. Like, what was he doing? He was there was a car. Okay, so this is the cliff, right? The cliff is to his right,
Yeah.
and this there's a car that fucking goes by, but because it was from the right side, and that's not the rules of overtaking. Like those aren't allowed in the rules of overtaking.
Right.
He actually tried to ram that car out of the road. He didn't give that car
Okay.
way.
That's insane.
Mad guy, bro. Did you have any experience like that, bro?
But not maybe my guy was a little kinder at heart. So what you do is they get into these weird, and I'm sure you experienced that. You
Yeah,
reach a point in the road where the road was too narrow,
yeah, yeah.
and two cars had to cross, and you'd literally like look at the geometry of it and be like, "There's absolutely no way it's physically possible." Then they'd manage. But we had this weird thing where the visibility was down to like 11 feet because it was raining.
Yeah.
Um, so you literally can only see 11 feet.
In Leh,
And you
on
know, when
the
you're
road to Leh Ladakh.
on the way back from Leh,
Oh shit.
on the way back. And because I think I was there slightly later in the year, in July.
Okay.
Um, so you sit in the bus and you look out the window and you can't see the ground, if you know what I mean, because the bus is high and
Yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah.
reclined. So you just see the bus going like straight towards what seems off the road, and then he'll turn last minute. And you're like, dude, from my view, I was like, okay, there's no road. This is
Yeah.
crazy. So I went in front to look at it, and then I realized there is a road that you can't see as well that's turning. But the visibility is 11 feet. You cannot see. Like, what does he see? How is he doing this? But apparently that's the safest mode of transport statistically, and very little goes wrong on the government bus. Um, my dear friend Shivam had told me this, which is why I took the government bus instead of the minibus or a car.
Dude, but no, I mean, I think that's fine as long as like, dude, in the rain it must be fucking insane because I hear there's landslides and shit on that road. Like, there's literally like, I don't know, man.
I saw one, it was the most beautiful thing I ever saw. Not the landslide, but when they cleared it. Um,
Did they
this
bomb it? What did
is
they do?
Yeah, exactly that. So the bus had stopped. It's weirdly the most weirdly beautiful thing I've ever seen. You're somewhere up towards Rotang, there's snow all around. The bus
Hmm,
stops, and we asked the bus driver what happened. He's like, wait, wait, there's no car in front of us. Can't figure out what's happening. Listening to some nice slow music on headphones. And then all of a sudden, boom, you hear this explosion, and you see large pieces of rock literally in like slow motion. Like literally, I mean, I guess it wasn't in slow motion, but it gives that illusion because of space, and they just like fly through the sky with snow peaks in the background. It's so surreal.
that's insane, man.
Obviously, yeah, obviously it's safe and it's like guarded, but it's just a weird visual
But
that you never see.
that sounds like an
Yeah,
amazing fucking experience, dude. Risky as hell,
yeah. I guess
but
for the person who I don't know how dynamite works, but for the person who blasted it, maybe. But we were pretty far. We were the first car, but far. Yeah.
apparently the government runs that whole road.
Hmm.
Obviously the government, the army,
Right. Right.
the army runs the whole road.
Right.
Called border,
Bro.
yeah, border roads organization. Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, bro.
Bro. People were speculating that the reason why China fucking invaded us in that same space, like
Mm-hmm.
Khardungla and all those passes, Pangong and
Mm-hmm.
everything, was because they wanted access to our roads so that they could actually access Leh. Because apparently, only recently has our infrastructure really gotten great in that region.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm guessing China has. Where did China consciously develop road like high road access to or plan to? Was it Everest or was it Leh, where they got like major roads going up there?
It's actually in the northeast of India.
Okay.
So it's we share a border in the northeast as well. So what
Right.
they did was like they keep fucking around that way. So they basically made a railroad track
Yeah.
which comes right up to our border, and then the railroad terminates at our border.
Damn.
And when we asked them like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you fucking doing this?
Yeah.
And they gave some bullshit reason for it. Yeah,
Hmm.
man.
I want to tell you a funny story about China, but it's not mine to tell. Santosh, आप शिवम को वो चाइना का कहानी सुनाओगे?
Tell me the story, bro.
वो बॉर्डर वाला. अरे बताओ ना. It's crazy. Like if I say it, it'll sound like I'm making up shit.
Yeah, yeah.
This was his friend who was enlisted at the border.
He was enlisted in the army at the border.
He's not Santosh, his friend from his
Yeah,
village. At the Indo-China border, I think somewhere near Leh. संतोष बताओगे प्लीज यार मजा आता है वो कहानी सुन के I think he's feeling shy. Basically, Chinese soldiers would put their foot at the border, like at the actual line that they're not supposed to cross, just to fuck with the Indian soldiers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because by protocol, the Indian soldiers have to respond if there's an infringement beyond a particular
Oh,
line.
and it's like it's all electrical, like in terms of.
I don't know if that particular line is electrical, but they basically come just to the line and then just to fuck around, put their toe over the line.
So there's a sensor you're saying there. Is there a sensor there?
I'm not sure of the sensor or whether they are guards patrolling,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they'll do it just enough to piss them off,
Hmm.
but not enough to have them killed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
one leg here, one leg there. Hey, Santosh, bolo na. एक
अरे
मिनट
है,
wait,
कैसे
wait,
हो
wait.
संतोष? सुनाओ यार, क्या हो गया? हाँ, तो हम लोग, कैन यू हियर मी? आई कांट हियर यू ब्रो.
Yeah, all right.
हाँ, कैसे हो संतोष जी? हाँ, सुनाओ यार, क्या अभी मैंने सुना क्या? अरे नमस्ते नमस्ते. मैंने सुना कि आपका दोस्त चाइना में, चाइना के बॉर्डर के पास था.
हाँ हाँ भाई है। दो जन थे, मतलब 6 महीना का ये था। 6 महीना के बाद वो लोग का दूसरा शिफ्ट हो गया अभी।
हाँ.
तो वो लोग का जो क्या बोलते हैं उस जगह एरिया, हाँ कैंप, हाँ वहाँ पे वो लोग का चाइना का और इंडिया का 1 महीना में एक बार सिग्नेचर होता है। हाँ
सिग्नेचर.
जो मतलब, हाँ मतलब हालात
शिव
नहीं
को
है।
बोलो, हाँ करेक्ट.
हाँ.
हाँ बोलो बोलो.
दोनों का एक मतलब इशू होता है, महीना में एक बार सिग्नेचर होता है
हाँ.
कि आप भी ठीक हो, हम भी ठीक है, कि कोई छेड़खानी नहीं हो
हाँ,
रहा
अच्छा
है।
अच्छा, समझ गया.
उसके लिए एक इशू होता है गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से, सिग्नेचर होता है।
हाँ.
तो हम लोग का इंडिया वाला टॉप में है।
हाँ.
तो सियाचिन जो 1600 किलोमीटर
हाँ,
कुछ हाइट
सियाचिन.
में है।
हाँ, कश्मीर के पास.
जो 100 रुपया का जो नोट में पीछे तरफ पहाड़ जो है मालूम है,
हाँ 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 हाँ.
वही वही लास्ट।
अच्छा, वो सियाचिन पे है.
हाँ सियाचिन का है।
हाँ.
तो वो टॉप में हम लोग है और डाउन में वो लोग है,
हाँ.
चाइना वाला।
हाँ.
तो वो महीना में एक बार इशू होता है सिग्नेचर,
हाँ.
बस ठीक है। तो वो लोग कितना जन आ रहे हैं पहले इन्फॉर्म करते हैं, हम लोग कितना जन है, 15-20 जन। तो ये लोग भी सामने 15-20 जन खड़ा होते हैं।
हाँ.
तो वो लोग का लाइन का ड्रॉप एक ये है,
हम्म.
लाइन है,
हाँ.
और उसमें कैमरा भी है।
हाँ.
तो वो लोग जानबूझ के सिग्नेचर हो जाता है, उसका बाद में वो लोग जानबूझ के वो लाइन को उंगली करते हैं। पैर डालते हैं। फिर मतलब उसमें इशू नहीं होता है कि फायर का ऑर्डर नहीं रहता वहां
हाँ.
पे,
हाँ. हाँ.
धक्का मुक्की ऐसे रहता
हाँ.
है।
हाँ. क्योंकि हम लोग के,
फिर
हाँ एक्चुअली,
Get into bronze and shit. Yeah.
आप पिछले 2 हफ्ते पहले वही हुआ था ना, क्योंकि वो लोग गोली नहीं मार सकते, तो एक दूसरे को लाठी के साथ मार रहे थे वो लोग,
हाँ हाँ हाँ,
बैट के साथ.
तो ऑर्डर नहीं रहता है। तो फिर वो लोग उंगली कर दिया, तो फिर इधर का करनाल को जवाब देना पड़ता है फौजी को कि उसने जब उंगली उंगली किया तो तुमने क्या देख रहा था, किस लिए ड्यूटी में रुका है। फिर बॉक्सिंग चलता है वहाँ।
वो लोग एक दूसरे को मारते हैं हाथ के साथ.
हाँ मारते हैं। वो लोग को ज्यादा स्ट्रांग नहीं होते हैं। लाल हो जाता है पुत्र भाई।
हाँ, मेरे थोड़ा थोड़ा छोटा हो रहता है ना वो.
वो लोग का चेहरा जो लाल हो जाता है, ऐसे पकड़ेगा तो लाल हो जाता है। पहले वो मतलब ज्यादा हो जाता है तो वो लोग वीडियो करना बंद हो जाता है, नहीं तो कैमरा के साथ होता है ना। जवाब देना पड़ता है, पहले वो क्या हुआ मामला वो भी जांच करता है।
अच्छा,
दोनों तरफ
तो मतलब एक दो मार सकता है लेकिन ज्यादा नहीं मार सकता है. अगर एक दो.
वो लोग ज्यादा मारा तो ये लोग भी डंडा लेके मारते हैं,
अच्छा
लेकिन फायर नहीं होता है, जितना मार सकता है मारो।
यार, तो डेंजर होता है यार. लेकिन ये सब चाकू कचहरी नहीं यूज कर सकते ना वो लोग.
नहीं नहीं वो नहीं
नहीं.
उधर ये लोग नहीं होता है।
अच्छा.
और वहाँ मेन लड़ने का इतना ये नहीं रहता है, मेन ठंडी से बचा तो ठीक है, तो वही लेके जाएगा।
लेकिन आपका दोस्त सियाचिन में था थोड़ा टाइम.
हाँ मतलब हर आर्मी वाला को हर कोई पहले वो लोग को हार्ट को देखते हैं, जो स्ट्रांग होता है
हाँ.
उसको आपको सियाचिन जाने के लिए टॉप बॉर्डर पे 16 दिन लगता है।
हाँ, मतलब सियाचिन एक्चुअली देखो तो देखा गया है तो सियाचिन मतलब सिर्फ हमारे, क्या बोलते हैं, जो अच्छे में अच्छे रहते हैं उनको ही बेचते हैं. ये तो ऐसे किसी को नहीं
हाँ,
भेजते।
मतलब अभी 4 दिन चलेंगे, फिर उसका एक मेडिकल कैंप होता है, वहाँ चेकअप होता है, फिर आगे बढ़ते हैं।
हाँ।
वहाँ 2 दिन रुकेंगे, 3 दिन रुकेंगे।
बहुत डेंजर जगह है,
हाँ,
मतलब
मतलब
बहुत
उसका
फैमिली के साथ जाना पड़ता है।
हाँ, नहीं तो भाई तो कितना जन को वहाँ जब बीमार हो जाते हैं, वो लोग को लाते-लाते वो खंडे में लाना
अरे
पड़ता
हाँ
है।
हाँ हाँ।
ला
हाँ नहीं तो
कितना जन का तो एक बार तो मिस्टेक हो गया, वो गिर गया, वो उधर घुड़कते उधर ही खत्म।
हाँ।
I just
मैंने कहा सुना कि अगर कोई वो लोग कोई चल रहा था, मतलब वो मेरे ख्याल से या तो पाकिस्तानी ने या किसी ने उनको उन पे आक्रमण किया जब चल रहे थे, तो वो लुढ़क जो आप बोल रहे हो ना वैसे ही हुआ, वो लुढ़क के गिर गया।
हाँ,
तो जब वो लुढ़क के गिर गया तो पूरी
हाँ,
रात वहां पे ही रहा, क्योंकि
हाँ,
तभी
हाँ,
वहां लोग अगर वो टॉर्च लाइट चालू कर देता तो
हाँ,
मतलब बाजू वाला उनको देख सकता था और फिर शॉट कर सकता
देख
था।
सकते हैं।
तो
हाँ,
उन्होंने
हाँ,
क्या
हाँ,
किया कि पूरा रात लाइट ऑन ऑफ किया, रुका,
हुँ,
और डे टाइम पे ही उन्होंने क्लियर किया उसको, लेकिन उसको बचाया।
हाँ, हाँ,
बहुत।
you remember, was it one of our mentors that told us that how they, I don't know, or whether it was on one of the visits to a base, that how they spot people on the hillside is by cigarettes.
By cigarettes, like you can see
Yeah,
smoke.
they not smoke, but you can see the bud if you really look. So you have to be really careful. That's sometimes how they spot people. You know, when someone's out for like 24 hours. You know what I mean? Like a flashlight is one way of being
With the
spotted.
light of the bud.
The light of the bud. At night, if someone has lit a cigarette, if you look out for it, you couldn't see it.
ये
So you
नहीं
have to be
पीते हैं
super
तो लोग
careful.
ड्यूटी कर नहीं पाते हैं,
हाँ, क्योंकि काफी ठंडा रहता होगा।
ठंडा रहता है।
हाँ, और बोरिंग भी रहता होगा ना, क्या करेगा उतना ठंडी में।
और वो लोग का एक ये है जैसे कि आप सोए हो
हाँ।
और कोई आके आपको ऐसे नहीं हिला सकता है। अगर आपको आप सो गए हो और ऐसे उसको उठा नहीं सकते। अगर उठा ऐसे करके उठाया तो ये सामने वाला बंदा उठ के आपको शूट कर देगा।
Oh,
वो लोग
interesting.
को इशारा है, पैर पे हिलाने का होता है।
अच्छा।
वो लोग जहाँ सोते हैं
हाँ।
कैंप में, कहीं ड्यूटी कर रहे हैं, सो गए हैं, तो आप डायरेक्ट उसको ऐसे नहीं कर सकते।
तो
बदन में कहीं पे नहीं, पैर पे आपको पकड़ना पड़ेगा। पैर पकड़ के आपको हिलाना पड़ेगा।
अगर ऊपर से
ठीक है।
किया तो मतलब मारे जाओगे।
हाँ, 1-2 जन वैसे हो गया है।
Imagine forgetting
वो लोग।
protocol, man.
सामने वाला बोल रहा है, अभी 5 आदमी सोया है एक साथ।
हाँ,
और किसी को उठाने के लिए आप अगर बदन को ऐसे कर दिए,
हाँ.
तो वही उठ के मार देगा।
That's scary, man.
That's
वो लोग
fucked
का
up, man.
That's
वो लोग
really
का
scary.
पासपोर्ट होता है।
हाँ,
और सामने वाला उठा रहे हो, तो
got it.
पैर पकड़।
It's
तो वो
crazy,
लोग का
man.
इशारा
These
है।
small things that you learn on the ground.
Yeah.
These small things that you learn on the ground
Yeah.
versus what you hear. Sometimes, like these small things, you're like, what?
Yeah. What the
Is
fuck?
that what actually happens? Um, okay, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Are you plugged in?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's insane, dude. These guys go through some shit, bro.
Yeah.
I just think about it, bro. I was tripping at that thought, dude. Imagine actually being in that situation where you have to walk. There's a bunch of guys running at you. And this is in 2020. It's not like fucking. It's not like 1880 or something. It's not like pre World War One or something. It's like imagine in fucking World War One, bro. Like there's like one day you're just chilling in Leh Ladakh. You know it's beautiful. It's summertime because it's summertime now and it's nice and warm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another moment they're like fucking. There's some guys running at you, and you can't shoot them because that'll like if you shoot
Because
them
they
that'll result in nuclear war. Everyone fucking die. So to
right.
prevent that, what you need to do is you need to take a bat, stick some nails in it, and run at this guy.
That's fucked up,
That
man.
is so fucked up. Imagine the
That's
first
fucked up.
swing. I mean, are you even if you imagine either being fucking bludgeoned to death or bludgeoning someone to death. That is so
Yeah,
fucked
yeah.
up.
They're both extremely painful.
That is,
I would imagine. Not that we really know, but one would imagine it to be
dude, I can
horrible.
imagine it being so fucking bad, bro. Imagine, man. Just that's.
Yeah.
Like imagine being put in that position. I'm sure these guys train and every day like they kind of prepare themselves mentally to be in that position. But how would
Yeah,
you respond
but
if you were in that position, bro? Would you be able to do it?
I don't know. Well, yeah, if I was in that position, I'd be able to do it. But because I'm in that position, you know what I
Yeah, I
mean.
get what you're saying.
But I don't think I'll ever be in that position.
That's true.
And but I can't imagine. I feel like I don't know. I'm no one to say I'm no expert on the subject, but I feel that though it's possible to be in that position and deal with it, I feel that it's against human nature to some extent. To some extent, and it would obviously I don't know. I'm no expert on the subject, but I'm sure it's hard for them to rationalize that and not have to deal with it later.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah.
I'm sure it's
They're
difficult for
they're,
them. I
get, they're
don't really
definitely
know.
getting
I would
mind
just
fucked later,
assume
man.
it to
They're
be.
definitely getting mind fucked later, 100%. Dude,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
like, what if I asked you, like, what if I told you, bro? Either choose between one limb
I
or
love this game, dude. I love.
bludgeoning someone else to death. Like, would you be able to do it?
Okay, so now you've made the stakes really high. Is it bludgeoning someone to death or bludgeoning someone?
All right, you basically you have a bat with nails in it, like nails sticking out, on
Mm-hmm.
all around it, and you need to
Mm-hmm.
swing at that dude's face. Right? You're swinging at that guy's face, or you
Yeah.
lose a leg. Right? Let's make it realistic. Or 50-50 chance you're gonna die. 50-50 chance. Right? It's a coin toss.
In a 50-50 chance, if I don't beat him, I'll die, or the leg option, I'll die. Like I lose a limb.
Let me rephrase that. Repeat that. You hit him, you're
You know
safe.
what? Fuck it. Why am I like delaying this shit? I'd hit him, man. If he didn't die, I'd hit him. I know this is not the right answer, but that's what my
There's
gut
no
is
right
saying right
answer,
now.
man. That's the thing. There's no right answer to this.
Man, I just did push-ups and squats yesterday. I can't imagine being without a limb, man.
That's yeah.
Like imagine doing a one-arm push-up not by choice. No, if he died, I would lose. If he was gonna die, I'd lose the limb. I'll be honest. But if he's not gonna die, hate me for it. But I'd blush him.
I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you.
Yeah. Well, what would you go for? What would you go for if bludgeon really badly but not kill, or lose a limb? Limb of your choice. You can choose. I want to lose this limb, want to lose that limb. Any limb I choose. I'm the man in charge. What would you do?
Can I do both? Sounds good to me, man. I'm up for that, man.
Yeah, man. I learned early in life that you can't win the escalation game with Shivam Nimani. So
No, definitely, dude. I mean, I just think that if you're my earlier point, which we fucking ruined, was just that it must be a horrible position to put yourself in, which is definitely a thing, man.
for sure, man. I can imagine. I can imagine. You wow. It's funny how Lay got us into like this crazy wormhole.
Dude, yeah, man.
But yeah, a lot of the people who come there
Mm.
from Israel who are backpackers who just really want to release after 2 years or 1 year at least of being in the army at a
Yeah.
young age.
Yeah.
Um,
You knew a couple of Israelis on that tour, right? Like you kind of
Yeah.
traveled with them and everything.
yeah, I have 4 or 5 good friends from there, all of who are from the army. But like a lot of them were like went on to be artists.
Hmm.
So for them, there's a huge because serving the military is compulsory.
Right.
There's a huge sort of mental dissonance for them between who they are and what they're made to do, and then India becomes a release for them from that experience.
Yeah, right. Because I would imagine that whole route of Leh Ladakh, Himalayas must be a very peaceful route. They can smoke a fuck ton of weed, and it's super cheap at the same time. Like it can be pretty cathartic. It's a good route to take.
Yeah, I think they all just let go over there. Whatever their catharsis is, whether it's nature, whether it's weed, whether it's partying, whatever, just like let go.
Yeah, they're a friendly group of people, man, for sure.
Yeah, very sweet.
Every time I spoke to the locals in Leh about the Israeli tourists, they'd be like,
Mm.
"Fuck these guys," because they would bargain like crazy, man. Bargain for the like every single like every little rupee that
Yeah.
they could, and they would at sometimes like end up getting cheaper rates than the locals, which is insane given that in India everyone charges foreigners
Yeah.
like insane premiums.
Yeah, it's insane. I Karan and I paid about 400 for a room per night.
Hmm.
I think it was per person, but it was a pretty luxurious room in Manali. And then when I stayed with the Israelis, I was paying 150 rupees a night. You know what I mean? So I navigated this fucking dope ass trip with them later,
Yeah,
and with no quality compromise on the trip. We were eating like they had hustled, like we go out for one meal a day, but instead of like how we Indians go out for all meals a day, they got the hotel cook to make us local food.
yeah,
The lady who owned the hotel at 40 rupees a meal,
yeah,
and we were staying at like 150. And I can understand why and they're a monopoly, right? Well, they're at least a 30-40% majority
yeah.
in that belt, so they collectively drive the price down. I can understand why they aren't liked.
That's insane,
Um,
man.
yeah,
I think just in general, that whole Manali Leh route is so mystical and it's so amazing to go when you're actually 22, 24 years old, man. When you're in
yeah,
your early 20s, it's the perfect place to go. It's cheap,
yeah,
it's fucking amazing, and it's so
yeah.
cheap you can spend a couple of weeks there. You can and like it's the perfect time in your life to actually spend 2 or 3 weeks there.
Oh, for sure, man.
Yeah.
It's a gift to be able to do that, and there's so many people who share that energy in
Yeah.
that space.
I think
Yeah.
one of the craziest experiences I had with that like Himalayas was one time when I went up there after like once I was 24. So
Mm-hmm.
I did a really intense job for a couple of years and I wanted a break. So I
Mm-hmm.
took a couple of weeks off and I went there and then we went trekking up this place. It's not a huge trek, but it's up
Mm-hmm.
on the top of this hill. It's called Kheer Ganga. Have you
Yeah.
been there?
Beautiful,
Oh, it's
man.
fucking amazing.
But let's hear about it.
No, it's damn good,
I'd
man.
love to
So,
relive that experience
oh
hearing
yeah,
about it.
dude. So I think what was insane was we got a tent. We stayed the
Yeah.
night, my friend Rohit and I, and
Wow.
and then in the night there was this hut that
Yeah.
everyone would congregate to,
Yeah.
and okay, there was this Baba there, like a whole bunch of people stoned out of their brains, and
Yeah.
they were passing this chillam around, and I didn't know what the fuck was in it. But
Right.
they passed it around nonetheless, man. I was like, screw it. I mean, you're here, might as well fucking do what the locals do. And then,
Right.
like, there was some trippy ass music playing, and the lighting was low, and it was in the mountains. And like,
Right.
if you peek out of the hut, like, you could see every star in the sky. And right opposite was this really steep mountain, and
Yeah.
like, you could see the sunlight, the moonlight actually bounce off of it, and you can see all these trees.
This is yeah.
So
No
beautiful,
one
man.
tells you what snow looks like in the moonlight, right? Like it's a picture not commonly put out there. It's beautiful
Yeah,
on the peak in front.
yeah, because
How it
there's no way
reflects.
you
Yeah.
can put that into words or even actually like it's very hard to even capture on a camera, bro. How the
Yeah.
fuck you gonna
Yeah.
capture that on a camera? It's the light bouncing off some snow.
Yeah. And it's texture more than just the colors, right? The
Yeah,
like it's I can't explain. You know, you've seen it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's got this weird
Yeah.
kind of radiance as well. So
Yeah.
it lights up the whole area, but it doesn't feel like light.
Right.
So for some reason you can see it or like
Yeah.
look at that mountain face, but
Yeah.
you don't realize that the reason you can see that mountain face so clearly is because
Yeah.
of the light coming off snow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a beautiful. It's amazing to be part of for a couple of days. Wouldn't do it for more than a week, but but 2 or 3 days
I'm still,
definitely.
no, hats off. You stayed the night, man. I didn't stay the night. Did I? No, I did stay the night there. I did. What am I
Mm.
saying? One night or two night?
Yeah,
But it was, yeah.
yeah.
But
And
yeah, it's beautiful, man.
yeah,
And the hot water spring up there,
yeah,
and the
man.
people you meet.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck. I didn't. I was like, fuck it. I'm not getting in there. It's too fucking cold. I hate it. Like I hate walking around the cold. It was really cold. But
Yeah.
Rohit was like, fuck this. He stripped, took off all his clothes,
Yeah.
using his chaddis. He jumped in
Yeah.
with a bunch of dudes. Everything was fine. And then I was just chilling by the side, and then I turn around and I see Rohit like standing like that majestically in his underwear,
He's got
sunbathing.
good posture, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is going on, man?
How do you sunbathe there? The wind is so cold when you get
I
out,
don't
even
know
though
how the
the
fuck he
sun's
did it.
on you.
It's like it's good for you. It's good for you, and he just
Punjabi jeans, man. Punjabi jeans. No, it's such a beautiful place. And I think it's weird. It's like a process of filtering. So to come to that place,
yeah.
I think requires a certain mindset. So
Hmm.
you've at least taken the decision to disconnect from a city. You've taken that
Yeah.
decision by coming there. Then you've traveled to Manali for sure,
Yeah.
right? Then you've taken the decision of Manali doesn't cut it. I want more
Hmm.
isolation. So you go up to Kalga, Pulga, Tulga, or Tosh, one of the villages below,
Hmm.
and then you walk the last bit, right? Because there are no cars after a point.
Hmm.
So I feel like all those levels of filtering, it just has like interesting people up there, man.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
Yeah, like it filters out the very commercial aspect of that belt.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and you have to have a little physical fitness because you made the trek up a little bit.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
also I think to a certain level you got to be okay with uncertainty. Everything's so certain in the way that we live our lives, man. You know where your next meal is coming from. You know where you're going to lay your head in the night. Like,
yeah,
but very, and it also depends on how you travel. But very rarely do people actually travel in such a way that you don't know what the fuck's going to happen next.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there's two kinds of travelers, right? Like, there's one like do whatever the fuck like you want to do, like Jehan, who'll
yeah.
do like who'll be like, I've booked my ticket there and I booked my ticket back. What I'm going to be
Right,
doing when I'm there, I have no fucking idea, but it's going to be awesome.
right.
And like a place like Manali, really, not Manali, but that whole area, not Manali, because if you
Yeah,
go to Manali, you could be any kind of traveler. But if you go up and
right. But
explore the
they,
area and things like that, then you're
yeah,
definitely like the latter. You're definitely the kind of person who would be like saying, just bring it on.
I'm okay with. Yeah, yeah. That's amazing, man. Wow, it's really a treasure belt. Really is in so
Yeah.
many ways, beauty, natural beauty, and energy wise. And you meet really interesting people. I'm sure you did too on your trip. I did.
Yeah, dude.
Karan did. We've all met like some really fucking interesting people.
Who was the like the weirdest person that you met on the way? Tell me some stories, man.
There was this one guy. Actually, so many, man. There was one guy who was just really cool. Like he was genuinely cool. Like he was genuinely a guy that gave no shits, like zero shits given about anything. Totally unfazed and loved people and loved to party. His name was Almog.
Almog.
Almog, Almog Ben Yehuda was his name. He was just so cool, man. Yeah, really cool guy. Just had a very special energy. Um, and I think, is my mic good?
Yeah, Mike's good,
Yeah.
man.
And another funny instance that we had was where we met. So it was Kabir, Karan, and I at a cafe. And no, it was Kabir, Karan, and I, or Madhu? No, it was Madhu, myself, Karan, Kabir. Yeah, there was four of us and four other Israelis who met at a cafe, and then we introduced ourselves. And they're like, "What do you do?" I was like, "I'm an actor." Madhu's like, "I'm an actor too." Karan's like, "I'm a filmmaker." Kabir's like, "I'm a musician." And they're like, "Wow, that's amazing! Such profession." So our ego was like out, like all the way to the sky. Wow, such amazing professions and all. And we spoke and all. And then we said, "Oh, what about you guys? What do you do?" And the first guy looked at us, and these are just like all hippie backpackers. He's like, uh, I'm a marine biologist.
What are you doing out here in the
And then
mountains, man?
yeah,
Sorry, man.
man,
Corny
exactly.
as fuck. Yeah.
And he was actually working on research on how to repopulate the bluefin tuna. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, how to repopulate that in a closed environment, which has never been done in the world before,
Oh,
successfully. Like people do it on small scale, but it doesn't work. It's one of those fish that can only be repopulated in the ocean. So he was working on farming that to repopulate the ocean. And then we were like, oh, and the next person, what do you do? And she's like, "Oh, I license television shows, something super interesting." And turned out she was Dan Ariely's niece,
Oh wow. Yeah, because Dan
right? Like
Ariely
how?
left. I think he left Israel, right?
Right, right.
Oh,
Um, it was hers. You meet like all these really random people, and then the last person, we're like, wow, we just like we had our ego shut out, and now we're like people who make amazing differences in the world in their own way. And so we're like, so what are you, man? Are you an astrophysicist? And he said, yeah. How did you know?
holy fuck.
And he was like the thinnest and most stoner looking of them all. Really sweet guy. And I think there was just like this moment of silence where the four of us were like, where do you think that at some obscure cafe in the rain in the middle of the mountains, like four stoners would be like a marine biologist repopulating the bluefin tuna, and another guy's an astrophysicist, and you're just like, wow, like what world do we live in? It's so random.
So
That was a cool experience.
yeah, man, because apparently the whole world, like, there's this notion that if you go to India, you'll get some level of salvation. Like, people fucking think that if they get to India, they're going to get some level of salvation.
Right.
So anytime anyone like decides to go searching their soul, they're like, "Fuck it, I'm going to India." Steve Jobs found himself there. If he can find himself, I'm going to find myself, and they're going to spend. Even apparently, Mark Zuckerberg spent an extensive amount of time
Really? I
in
didn't know
India,
that.
in
I didn't know that.
Varanasi, and all these
And
places,
and the Beatles. And
and
the
the
Beatles.
Beatles. Like, there's a crazy number of people who've actually traveled to India looking for that salvation. It's nuts.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Like you can keep a straight face, Jehan can run a good business, and I can pretend I'm an honest guy. So I think we should totally capitalize on this belief.
Yeah, dude. No, yeah, 100%, man. You can. I mean, I guess they don't fucking know, right? If you're traveling to a new country, you don't have no idea what what people are like, who's around, and
Yeah,
you have no clue in terms of you might think you're getting what you want,
yeah,
and maybe that's the same as actually getting what you want. If you think you're getting what you want,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
anybody can be a fucking baba, right? The whole idea, the main idea isn't the fact that you met a real baba or whatever the fuck that means. I don't even think there's anything such as a real baba. All these guys are fucking making you fools anyway, right? It's all a fucking con
yeah.
job, bro.
They're allowing you to realize what you wanted to realize on your own. You just let them be the instrument. Anything could have been that
Yeah,
instrument,
exactly.
right?
So
Yeah,
we're making a few bucks out of it.
yeah, man. So I'm growing out the beard a bit. What? So what? Same time next year?
Sounds good, man. Actually, a baba service would be insane, man.
Yeah. No, I don't want to take a name, but I saw a video the other day
Hmm.
of a very large ashram, beautifully made, um, down in the south and marketed, and then I just started thinking of it like just disengaged a bit from the spiritual aspect of it. And like technically, even if it's a form of spiritual tourism.
Yeah,
Um, it's a form of tourism.
yeah,
It's like you can go for a spiritual holiday, and a great one, and cost effective and beautiful, and get something more.
yeah,
And why not? Why not? Why not? Why not from both sides, the participant and the creator? Why not? It's doing no harm
yeah. Definitely,
to
man.
anyone.
Yeah, I know. I know. Like a lot of Americans actually migrate. Like they go back because a lot of them are like Scottish or Irish or
Right,
Italian. So
right,
that's why like going back to Italy, going back to Ireland for a bit is a huge thing for them. And
right.
it's almost like a spiritual journey. Like when they go there, they're like, you know, I'm going back to this place, that place. And they're looking for something. So a lot of travel can be like aimed at self discovery and shit like that. Because I think there's something inherently that chaotic about coming to India, man. If you ever come
Right,
back to India, or if you ever like after a long time, you're gonna be like, holy fuck, this is a chaotic ass place, man. There's a lot of shit going on,
right.
and that's actually people crave that. I don't know why, but people crave that level of chaos
Hmm,
sometimes, depending on the person.
hmm.
Yeah, man.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it forces you to be in the moment. Maybe
Yeah, bro. Yeah, man.
if something is really chaotic, you have to be present.
Yeah,
You
you
get
can't.
run over by a car.
Yeah, you can't fucking
Ow.
zone out, bro.
Lose all your money because some guy told you he was starving when he actually wasn't, or like I don't know. No, I'm adding humor, but no, actually, I think like sometimes uncertainty brings you in the moment,
Yeah.
like breaking rapport to make rapport, or um, traveling, or an adventure sport. Something brings you in the moment that's unpredictable. Editor.
When was the last time you felt like so, something was unpredictable?
Oof. Wow. Self-realization moment. Not a while, man. It's really been a long time. I don't know. I actually don't know.
Fuck, this whole COVID thing's making me feel really uncertain, man. Let me tell you that much, bro. I'm feeling fucking
Really?
uncertain because of the COVID shit. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen, bro. Um, I think somewhere around April, I thought this whole thing was gonna end in June, July.
Hmm.
But now it seems like it's gonna go beyond June, July.
Yeah.
Gonna go
Yeah.
right up till December and fucking possibly into next year if we don't find a cure to this shit. It's
I
definitely
don't
gonna
know if
happen.
you heard, but Bombay is on lockdown again from tomorrow for 7 days, complete lockdown.
Makes
They're
sense.
going back. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, man. Where were we? Bro, I forget where we were, man.
I don't. Yeah, so do I. It doesn't matter, man. Where were we?
I
It's a
have no
good
idea.
question. And I guess it doesn't matter, right? What's important is where we are now.
Where are we now, bro? How's it going?
Not much, man. I had a beer thought in the morning. It's going good. Enjoying a coffee. Gonna have some hot water and lemon.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, it's been. Yeah. वो गिरेगा क्या?
I mean, some lemon.
Santosh is Santosh is my predictive analytics. He knows when something's about to go heavily wrong, and he always warns me, and I take his word for gold.
Oh, shit.
He's like, "Baba, wo coffee girega."
Ah.
I placed it on the sofa precariously,
Oh,
a
fuck.
little like he just. If I ever don't listen, it always happens. So
Dude, that always used to happen with my mom and me, man. Because she'd be like, you've kept this glass of water there. It's going to fall. And then I would be like, what are you talking about? It's not going to fall. I know, obviously, I know it's there. How can this be? Like,
yeah.
things like that. I would contest it. And then, bam. I'm not looking, I'm doing something. Fucking tip that over.
Yeah.
You know what I really respect? I really respect the fact that my mom, whenever she would see that shit falling down, never said, I told you, you son of a bitch. Like, you know what I'm saying? She just,
Yeah.
like, she never said that. Like, straight up.
That's actually
Yeah.
really commendable.
Every,
That's really commendable.
every time she's
I'm
like,
considering it wasn't a one-time occurrence, which makes it even more commendable.
yeah, exactly. Like, they would look at it, you know, but I think both my dad and my mom, they would look at it, that shit falling down on the ground, and they'd be like, it's okay. Like, they'll be, I could see they were really pissed on their face, but they'll be like, no, it's okay. It's okay. No problem. It's fine. It's just a glass. And then we'd go about, go about picking it up. I think this is a common occurrence in most civil houses.
I would agree with you. I think moms have superpowers in the sense of what you just said. Because I can't tell you the number of times my mom's told me something that I think is absolutely not necessary, absolutely not true, that I like vehemently disagree with, that I put my whole pride in defending myself against. And then it always comes true. It'd be like, you're going to Kashid and you've just eaten breakfast and you planned a pit stop for lunch at McDonald's and like you planned that day out and your mom would be like, Varun, just take a sandwich. Mom, it's not part of my diet. I don't need a sandwich. I have my meals planned out to the gram. Varun, you never know if the restaurant's closed or you get stuck in. Mom, there's no traffic. It's a highway. Varun, just take it. I'm putting it in your bag. Mom, just. And sure enough, there's some reason for that sandwich on the trip. Like there was a traffic jam. McDonald's for that one day was closed for maintenance. Always truth.
Yeah,
I think
man.
moms have a superpower, but it's amazing that they don't rub it in our
Yeah,
face.
exactly. Dude, I felt like
um,
such a dumbass, man. Because when I was coming back home, like when I was coming back here after visiting home, mom was like,
yeah,
why don't you take this? Why don't you take that? She gave me she gave everyone I know a packet of spices. In fact, I asked her to make a pack of spices for everyone, and
right.
then she's like, why don't you take some for yourself, Shivam? It'll you can make yourself some chicken. It'll be nice. And I was like, I was like, "What are you talking about, mom? There's no way I'm gonna I don't need it. I don't even make masala chicken. Like, why do you just take it? What's the problem? It's not that heavy, also. No, no, I don't want to take it." And then, sure enough, I get the urge to have masala chicken. Not there. That's the worst, man.
That's.
Like, man,
I
then
think.
yeah, you think what?
No, no, no. You were saying?
Nah, I think that's awesome. I haven't told my mom I miss masala chicken.
Have you? But like as a son or as a child, you tell her, "Mom, you were right," because she didn't say, "I told you so." But are you like, or do you like just keep that shit to yourself? Like,
Nah, I keep that shit to myself, man. It's a weird conversation to have.
that's
You're
cute.
right. Yeah, dude.
Yeah. That's funny. That's really, really funny. Yeah, moms have those things. And I feel like there was another tradition. I actually saw some stand up comic talking about it, but I was like, it's more true than ever. Is that Indian moms have a plastic bag collection?
Oh yeah,
I don't know if it's at your house too.
dude, it's everywhere, man. Everyone has a
It's
plastic
a
bag
thing, right?
collection. Yeah, yeah, it's a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
The moment I came here, like all my roommates would throw their plastic bags, and I was just used to somebody in the house collecting these bags. Like, why the fuck we
Right.
throwing this away? It's perfectly fine. And there's like, obviously, your mom didn't collect plastic. It's definitely a thing.
Yeah, and I'm working on a new theory is that mums have like not mums maybe and I don't mean to be sexist here, let me put that out, but it's just an observation over time consistently is that girls see different things with their eyes than boys do. Like I genuinely, and I'm not even trying to be, I mean this, is that girls can see dirt, boys can't.
Oh
Like I
yeah,
feel like
yeah,
when my mom looks at the world, she can see like bacteria moving through the air, or she can see certain things that we just can't see. You know what I mean? And I
yeah.
genuinely mean this.
No, definitely,
Or
man.
maybe
100%.
yeah,
100%.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
yeah, like we had a friend stay over on the weekend a few days back, and she was like bunking out on the couch,
yeah,
and like I took a cursory glance at the living room, which like because now there are people there. I usually don't look at it because it usually hangs out there. But now that
yeah.
there were people hanging out there, I was like, guys, I think we should really clean our living room. She's like, yeah, I'll help. And like once she was done like cleaning the place, I was like,
Yeah.
dude, I didn't even notice some of the things in like I didn't notice some things were fucked up. Like there were like food cartons all over the place. They were full of food, obviously, like storage
Yeah.
food. Like I was using my living room as a food storage location, and then she moved that whole thing and everything. 100%.
That's incredible, dude. That's incredible. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Did you ever? You think contrast is a good way of learning?
Def,
Be an environment like contrast creates realizations to some extent. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
man.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, 100%, bro. If I'm the moment I don't get something is when I realize like how
yeah,
valuable it is that I have something, or
yeah,
just the
yeah,
realization that I'm lucky to have something. Like for example, cooking.
yeah.
Only when I stopped having someone to cook for me on a regular basis did I realize what a fucking privilege it is to have someone cook a meal.
Right,
Just out of love,
right,
like it's so big.
right.
Like on a regular basis, everybody just like if you're single and
It's
you're
a
by yourself, you're cooking for yourself.
yeah, yeah,
It's so awesome to have someone cook a meal for you.
for sure, man, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah,
It's some crazy
just
shit.
counting my blessings that it happens.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's insane.
How's Hindi going, man? I hear you're learning Hindi now.
Good, good. It's been interesting falling in love with the language. I feel like more than a more than a physical or a effort based journey. It was more of a mental journey of breaking that block I had to it. Speaking frankly, um, and breaking that block has just made it way easier. Um, and I think one was I reached a point where I had to accept that that was the only blocking factor
Yeah.
for me. Like if I was to walk into a room and not be cast,
Mm.
given all other variables equal, it would probably be that variable.
Mm.
So I had to reach an honest point of realization that that's what I needed to work on. But then the other factor is just like I think a bit through music. I was doing some classes with my friend Anil. He's a really good teacher, and yeah, I think through music I started to love the language more. And now that I do, like, I look forward to spending time either talking in Hindi with friends or going through Hindi texts or listening to Hindi music or watching Hindi content. It's fun, man. It's fun now.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just a mental shift. It's just a mental shift that creates the other shift, as opposed to me trying to be disciplined about putting in the
Yeah.
hours. But now that the mental shift is there, that's so much easier than before.
That's awesome, man. Do you ever think it's
Yeah.
weird that like we place a premium on speaking English
Yeah.
over Hindi? Like as a society, we do. Like in
Right.
general,
I think that's changing
it
now.
is.
I think it's changing now.
How?
Yeah. If you look, um, in terms of if you look at content that's doing well, and I'll take it a step further than English and Hindi. I take it a step further to say Indianness and non-Indianness as well,
Hmm.
because Hindi represents one part of Indianness,
Right.
but there's more to it. There's mannerisms, there's ways of speaking. Yeah, you know what I mean. There's a whole thing that goes with the
Yeah.
language as
Yeah.
well, a culture that follows that, and a lot of content you'll see that does really well. Um, and I mean in terms of numbers, right? To the masses, is Hindi content, is reality shows, is topics that interest the masses.
Huh.
Um, like say, yeah, most of the reality shows that want you to do it in Hindi or at least English, and that gets picked up in terms of numbers, in terms of content, a lot more. Like I remember, I won't take names here. I know two people, both very attractive, um, both very well spoken, and one is a little more Indian
Yeah.
and one is a little less Indian in that sense. They're both Indian, but you know what I mean, right? One speaks in English, one is a little more Indianized in the sense that she'd use English. When they both do live chat,
Dude.
okay, let's go with it then.
Yeah, bro. So you're saying that one was perfectly yeah, one speaks English, another contact of yours speaks English, like proper English, one speaks
Right,
Hindi and English.
right, and they were both part of the same like series that they were doing and were doing live chats as part of a group.
Yeah.
But the one who was more Indianized,
Yeah.
all other variables being almost equal, had virtually double the engagement on a live chat.
Hmm.
Considering the other one has way more followers,
Yeah.
right? Because the live chat was pure engagement from pure that moment being shared.
Yeah.
And she consistently had that.
Hmm.
And that was the only other distinguishing variable. And you a lot of times you hear like producers talking about that. Like I met an actress who's done a good body of work at a very high level,
Yeah.
and she actually spent a year. She does the A-list Bollywood film. She actually spent a year Indianizing herself, um, even in terms of the way she speaks English,
Wow. That
um,
sounds hardcore,
which
right?
is really,
I want you
yeah,
to
that's really
spend.
hardcore.
Yeah. That is actually, yeah. Jokes apart, that is
Yeah,
pretty
but
crazy.
yeah, no, but yeah, that actually makes a difference for someone to change the way they speak, even their English to sound more Indianized at that high level
Yeah.
of work.
Yeah.
Obviously shows its importance, and I think somewhere, without judgment, the current government,
Hmm.
I guess, because at any stage, the media influences what you perceive to be aspirational to a certain
Yeah.
extent. Uh, if all the cool people are drinking Coke, Coke is aspirational.
Yeah.
And if all the cool people are skydiving, maybe skydiving is aspirational. Or if all the cool people are wearing a brand, that's aspirational. Whereas if all the cool people are speaking a certain language that is aspirational. So I feel like the current political environment,
Hmm.
uh, the fact that they stick to Hindi,
Yeah.
um, irrespective of the environment that they're on, whether it's a news channel, whether the other people speak English, whether it's on a global front, they stick to their
Yeah.
language. Uh, that is now saying that people in a power, subconsciously saying that people in a power speak our traditional language,
Yeah.
and I think that is percolating percolating downward. Because if you think about it in
Yeah.
terms of
Yeah.
numbers, majority speak
Yeah.
Hindi. It is a beautiful language, and there are a lot of good stories in it. So, I mean, India has a lot of beautiful stories to be told if you're talking in terms of film.
Yeah.
So, not just in terms of film, but even in terms of regular life, if more people speak it, if it's what we authentically do, if we can express better in it, at least when it's not um, absolutely necessary to speak
Yeah.
English, then why? Then why?
Yeah, man. I especially.
Unless you're more comfortable in it. Yeah, I'm more comfortable in it, so I'd speak it. But if people are not, why would you push to speak a language
Yeah.
that? What are your views on it? That's what I
No,
feel.
I
Yeah.
completely agree, dude. Actually, that's a beautiful point about the government that you made. I completely agree
Mm-hmm.
with you there, man. Um, just the
Mm-hmm.
fact, like every now and then on Twitter, you'll find these dickheads who kind of troll like people who have opposing or dissenting points of view, and
Right.
they would fucking they would have like a name in Hindi, and they have associated themselves with this, like, so because of people like that on the internet, you've associated people who write their names down in Hindi and only post in Hindi as a bunch
Right.
of like right-wing dickheads.
Right.
But that may be not the case for everybody who does, and if you decide to do that, I understand that it's a little bit more difficult for me, which is weird, to read Hindi, so I
Right.
find it hard to engage with these posts. But in general,
Right.
I think it's awesome. I don't think, like, I would when I would teach people, like when I would teach students, I've found that, like, it's not fair to tell someone that the language that they speak in
Mm-hmm.
is not appropriate or it's undervalued. Like, imagine telling people
Right.
on a constant basis, you got to learn English if you want to get
Right.
some level of success in a marketplace. It's like saying you're
Right.
not enough the way the fuck you are. Like, at your basic
Mm-hmm.
core, just because of the language you speak. I don't care how well you speak Hindi. It's just
Right.
that it won't fit because all the structures, all the established structures we have are all based
Mm-hmm.
on English speaking. So that
Yeah. Yeah.
that always takes
Yeah,
me
man.
back, man. So
No, for sure, man. And I think separate that into two parts where it's absolutely necessary and where it's not.
yeah,
Like, I know a whole bunch of people across the world who actually learn Chinese so that they can do business with China better.
yeah,
And I know a whole bunch of Chinese people who learn English with a specific goal of business, or there's certain like languages where medical research isn't done in the language and the terminology is not up to date.
yeah, yeah,
So I can understand those subgroups, but where it's not necessary,
yeah,
and if the majority speaks a language, why have it the other way? You know what I mean?
yeah. It's bullshit. I think in
Yeah.
in the long term, it might just do us well because if you have only one language to learn, right? Supposing if
Right.
you're a kid, supposing you're a 5-year-old kid, and
Yeah.
you're gonna go to your village, you need to get educated. Supposing you want to grow up and be an accountant, or you grow up and be an accountant. If you're
Yeah.
going to be an accountant in some village in Gujarat or
Mm-hmm.
some village somewhere in India, right? You're adding value by being an accountant, but you don't necessarily need
Absolutely.
to know English. They can get away with
Agreed.
teaching Hindi, and as a system, if we're only teaching Hindi and we're not getting into English, that's also
Mm-hmm.
fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that because people are you're still educating people.
Yeah.
Still,
Yeah. Absolutely. I think the.
you think the
No,
no,
sorry. Go ahead. No.
I
No.
was just talking shit, man. Tell me.
No. 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 Sorry. I feel like sometimes the. Like there's a microsecond delay on internet
Yeah,
calls
yeah,
that
yeah,
makes people cut each other off, which has nothing to do with the conversation.
yeah.
So you were saying?
No, I was just saying that, like, to teach someone something like accounts, you don't really
Yeah.
need. And the end of the day, whether or not someone's done something like accounts is evident in the fact that the books or ledgers are maintained. and there's some level of
Right.
accountability, and then your
Right.
job is done.
Yeah.
So that can be in any language.
Yeah.
That was my only point.
Oh, for sure, man. I think we both concur strongly. I think everyone would concur strongly, or a lot of people would concur strongly on the fact that
Yeah,
the social stigma element of speaking a language
yeah,
either way doesn't need to exist. You know what I mean?
definitely.
That a lot of people are like a lot of people who know
Yeah.
Hindi will speak English because of the social stigma of a certain way.
Hmm.
Like I have a Hindi professor at Bombay University who I used to train with, who told me the funniest thing. He said, "I don't understand why that happens like that, because he said you'll have two great Hindi speaking
Yeah,
individuals, like Hindi teachers
yeah,
of like the highest degree at a university, like great at the subject, who will meet each other, who speak Hindi at home,
yeah.
who teach Hindi, and then in a social situation will start speaking English." Like
It's so
he was
stupid, man.
laughing about that
It's
fact.
ridiculous, man. It's crazy. Even when I'm like like supposing I want to buy something at like there's a pump of like a petrol station close by,
Yeah.
and if I want to stop by and buy anything there, there's an Indian dude who works there.
Hmm.
I know he's Indian because his name's like something like Dharmesh or some shit like that. I don't know what his proper like, but it's an Indian name.
Hmm.
Definitely an Indian name.
Yeah.
And I see him, and I was like, okay, this gives me an opportunity to talk in Hindi with someone. So I start talking in Hindi. I'll be like, कैसे हो? सब ठीक है. ये मेरे को एक ये देना. And this person is going to respond to me in English. They're
Yeah.
not going to speak back to me in Hindi. And I've only
Yeah.
seen that like I've accompanied my Korean friends to Korean restaurants. I've
Right.
accompanied my Chinese friends to Chinese restaurants. I've
Yeah.
met people who've acknowledged that they're both Ukrainian. I've seen this happen across cultures where they'd always kind of connect with each other on in their native tongue if they know the native tongue. Because they're kind of excited by that fact as well. Because everyone's speaking English, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Not with Indians, man. We guys don't like that shit. We're like, fuck it, why you fucking
Yeah.
talking to me in Hindi, asshole? What do you think? I don't know English? What do you fucking
Yeah.
assumed,
Yeah.
ass back? And then they start talking to you. They'll give you that look like, what the fuck do you think I am? And they'll talk to you in English.
Yeah, and it's funny. I mean, you studied psychology
Hmm.
and you understand anthropology, and it's funny how these things are not taught. These things are not told, but they get passed down
They do.
somewhere.
They do.
They're picked up. Obviously, I'm sure it comes somewhere from the fact that we were ruled by another country, and also like maybe not just that fact, but basically that people in a position of power spoke a certain
Yeah.
language, or people who are aspirational, maybe not outsiders, even insiders who are aspirational, spoke a certain language. So somewhere that's left a belief that just carries on in perpetuity out of a context, maybe.
Definitely.
So yeah.
Yeah, dude, 100%. I completely agree with you. I was, so I went into a bit of a wormhole a few days back. I was like,
Hmm.
I don't agree with a lot of what the current government's doing. But then I understood, like,
Hmm.
but then I began to think about how I don't really understand what the current government's doing. I
Right.
never understood Congress's agenda when Congress was in power. So I kind of
Yeah.
like, so I figured that BJP didn't have much of an agenda too. They're all wishy-washy, right? I figured
Hmm.
like it's all identity politics. Actually, Congress is all identity. Funnily enough,
Right.
um,
Right.
BJP seems to be a lot of tribalism. But anyway, my point is, I was like,
Hmm.
let me look up like the texts. So I looked up
Right.
BJP's manifesto, and in addition to that, I looked up. Apparently, BJP has a library of information online. So they have a whole library of
Hmm.
literary texts that scholars have written, um, kind of supporting their ideology. And some of it is
Interesting.
bullshit. Like some of it is like
Hmm.
hateful,
Hmm.
like 10% of it. But the rest of like
Hmm.
90% of it makes a lot of sense. Like I wouldn't. It's weird because that 10, like they could have like they have a very anti-Muslim agenda, like super anti-Muslim.
Hmm.
And here's the thing, they also make an awesome point that we never really took our identity back after we never created a Indian identity.
Right.
Like, what does
Right.
it mean? Like, our identity is very in the air. We never created
Right.
a solid Indian progressive ideology identity. That's a great point.
Right.
And in fact,
Right.
they would have won. They would win overwhelmingly just on the basis of that. But it's their
Mm.
anti-Muslim thing that was like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, that's too much, man. But they make this. But to just to bring it back to what you were saying, they make that exact point
Hmm.
that we like we haven't really gotten that idea back that we are
Right.
Indians speaking Hindi in India. That's our language. We are all Indians.
Right.
And I think in the 1990, what was crazy interesting apparently is between 1998 and when
Yeah.
they were in power briefly from 1998 to 2002, right?
Yeah. Bajpai, Mr.
Yeah.
Bajpai.
So what they did was
Yeah.
they apparently completely revamped our history textbooks where
Really?
all these
I didn't
sectarian
know that.
where all we had this whole classist system of categorizing ourselves, right? They did away with
Right.
that and they created one consolidated Hindu identity. So their whole the
Interesting.
everything apparently that they're working towards from the past 20 years, including
Hmm.
CAA, according to them, is to create
Right.
a unified like a Hindu identity based on the
Right.
fact that that's something that they want to build. They want to get rid of the sectarian divisions
Right.
across India so that everyone conforms to that one large identity of being Hindu.
Understood. Right. Interesting, man.
Yeah,
Interesting. Interesting that I didn't know they had a library of texts and that too available
yeah,
online. That's very
yeah,
interesting. Yeah, and I think at some level it makes sense um, to have I feel there's value in a unifying identity for any group.
yeah,
It strengthens the group.
yeah,
I don't necessarily agree with the Hinduism being the unifying thing,
yeah,
but I can understand. like I don't agree with one religion being the unifying factor
yeah,
for a nation's identity, like having the religion being the unifying
yeah,
factor. But I do understand the value in having a unified identity that they've identified.
yeah,
And if you look at it from a numbers perspective, if you had to choose one unifying identity, whether it's taste in music or like language or anything, I could understand where they come from. But I would prefer a nation to be united by something other than
by
religion.
values or
But
something.
by values, but I'm not a social scientist, and
No, dude, yeah,
I don't know how one goes about it that scale. But yeah, I'd rather have a nation unified by values or unified by language. I think that's nice. I think that's really nice.
yeah, especially because
That
Hindi
they
and Urdu are so similar, right? So like,
exactly.
so I mean, it's not like it's not like you're creating this central language which is deeply rooted in the religious uh,
Yeah,
content. It can be both ways, man.
agreed,
Yeah, bro.
agreed. Like I think that's nice. That aspect is nice. Not really the religion aspect, but that aspect is nice.
Yeah, dude.
Um, which also goes back to I don't know if you remember this. It was a question that puzzled me because we did like the Gita class in
Yeah,
college
yeah,
and we did archaeology and we did the Mahabharata. We did like old texts and I could never find the word Hindu used.
yeah, yeah,
Hinduism, right? I could never find that word.
yeah.
And I remember asking a question there, and I haven't done much research into it, but um, uh, archaeology teacher at the time said Hinduism, her opinion was that Hinduism is not a religion um, at all, and that to classify as a religion, you need certain things like a religious text, you need a mention of it, you need one day, like certain classifications to classify as an organized religion. Um, but she said the first time the word Hindu, she said there were different tribal cultures with similar stories, and the first time the word Hindu was used was by the East India Company in like 1916. There were like different provinces, but they needed one word to kind of unify that space, and they started using that word. Otherwise, it was state provinces.
That makes a
You
lot
know
of
what I mean? Which
sense,
is
man.
interesting. I never got into it, but yeah, I'd love to have someone show me a text which calls Hinduism and mentions the practices of the religion, and you know what I mean. One text that goes through
That
that.
makes sense.
Um,
Yeah, because I think we
yeah,
weren't.
I did.
Yeah, sorry, say that.
Yeah, no. Just full disclaimer: I haven't researched much into it at all. But
For
I remember having that conversation in class, and that just struck me, and I left it there. I didn't
yeah,
go
bro.
into it, so I'm not an expert on the subject. But it was just an interesting
No,
thought.
it makes sense because even like because I've been reading the Gita like crazy, and there's like you said, there's no mention of Hindu. Like there's no mention of Hinduism or Hindu. Or-
Right.
But it could also be because there wasn't the need for the notion of secularism if everybody followed the same religion. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough. Fair
If
enough. Yeah.
everybody around you is like a certain religion, then suppose you don't define the fact that we went to certain college because like we went to that college. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't.
Right. No, fair enough. As in on our test papers, you wouldn't write Varun Patel flame, Shivam Nimani flame. It's just understood you're in that
Yeah.
environment. So, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. The point was it could also be that we were just a bunch of classes, man. We were just a whole bunch of different social classes
Right.
because
Which is pretty well documented,
yeah,
right? Over time.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that was the way that we divided ourselves. Those was like kind
Yeah.
of sub religions within religion. I don't even fucking know, man. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, I think I am too. I think for another day, it would be an interesting, disagreeable, controversial topic to talk about the benefits of classism. I'm just kidding.
Wait,
Um,
dude, do you not think there were benefits to classism?
Man, you, me, Jihan, and all our friends in Flame, that was not classism, man. Shivam.
No, like I mean, jokes apart. Like
Listen, I,
seriously
I,
though.
I swept your room because I cared for you. All right?
Wait,
It was love.
but like, what does classism have to do with sweeping rooms?
This is really bad Wi Fi. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello, Shivam.
I'm just saying,
Hello?
like, I definitely,
Oh, I'm back. I'm back. Sorry, I totally forgot what we were
no, I
talking about. So,
definitely
what's up,
agree. I
man?
definitely agree with you about classism, like having a function, dude, like having
Hmm.
some level of social function.
Hmm.
Definitely, like, there's definitely some merit to that idea. But at the same time, I don't want people to be trapped at their own class, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, no,
No, I don't. I'm just totally kidding.
you
I'm
should
kidding.
not.
I just wanted to tip the board and stir some shit up. I don't actually believe that.
Thanks for clearing that up, bro. Just
Yeah, I wanted to tip the board not for the sake of believing something and tipping the board as a byproduct of what I believed in. I just wanted to tip the board, and that was a cheap way to do it
it's all good, man.
for the joy of tipping the board. Yeah,
I mean, it's a good discussion to have. Actually, I think people we don't because some people really fucking believe in that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and these are like you meet them every day,
really?
bro. You'll meet people like this every fucking day who'll believe
Are
in
you
the class
serious?
system. Yeah, they'll believe it. They'll be like, no, I don't fucking speak to this guy because he's a fucking so and so. I don't.
That's messed up, dude. That's really messed up in 2020 when things can transcend that and have transcended that repeatedly.
That's one of the things
That's
this government is really like trying to do. I don't know if it's really trying to do that. Apparently, they've been like imprisoning Dalit freedom fighters and shit. I don't know much about it. I heard they are doing that. So I'm conflicted,
right,
but like in their manifesto, they say they're going to do that. They don't want sectarian
right,
this thing. They want one unified idea of being. That's what they're
right,
working towards, and which includes Adivasis and all these groups of people. That's their motive.
right.
And if they do that, that's amazing.
No, man, dude, for sure, equal opportunities for all.
Yeah,
Still not on the Hindutva agenda, but equal opportunities for all for sure. Yeah.
dude. Yeah, there's
Anyway, what
there's
else?
something about that, right? Like personally, like I've met a lot of guys who like kind of post and shit like that. I'm getting where they're coming from. I'm getting the whole idea. But it's
Yeah,
like having some sticky ass oil on you. If you say, do you want to fucking accept? Do you want to take that on? I'm like, fuck no. There is no way in hell you can. Because there's
yeah,
something icky about the whole concept about these guys on Facebook fucking spamming you, saying shit. There's this one guy
right.
who, like, people try. First of all, I think it's fucking terrible that people try to debate you on Facebook, man. Have you ever been debated with on Facebook? Has that ever happened to you?
I've always stayed clear of political posts, posting them, replying to them. I pretend it doesn't exist. I don't get into those Facebook debates, but I've seen some of them.
Yeah, right. Have you seen somebody you know really get into it?
Yeah, I have. I have.
Dude, how was it, man?
Yeah. It wasn't. It was kind of pointless because at the end of the day, I'm sure you've experienced this too, and I have. Unless it's like a scientific research paper or something extremely based on something
Yeah,
like something extremely non-subjective, research-based. Usually, it's my dick is bigger than yours, or my emotions make me feel more righteous than yours do. And where does it fucking go, man? You know what I mean? Like, and I honestly believe there's some reason you're having that conversation on social media. There's some fucking reason your motivation is to have it on social media
yeah,
in a public forum when you could have DM'd that person or called them up or met them if you know them well enough. Why the hell are you having like and like do something about it, man? If you have such a strong opinion, like just don't keep talking, dude. A, you're talking and not doing. B, you're talking on a fucking public forum. So what is your real agenda? I can't be open. That's what I
yeah.
truly feel. I can't believe like what is your motivation, man? Like what is your
Dude,
motivation here?
100%, man.
What's really at play? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of virtue signaling. People like, oh fuck, look at these guys, look at how bad they are. That's actually what
Yeah.
won Trump his election, man. Because he would keep saying outrageous shit, and people would get outraged, and then fucking share his fuck all posts, and then
If you're playing a game, play it all the way. I think he not that I support any of that, but he went full season of the game. You know what I
dude, the
mean?
first guy, I'm not even
Um,
joking, man. Like, however you may call him bad, you may call him evil, Nazi, whatever the fuck you want to call him.
hmm.
He was the first guy I followed when I got on Twitter, man. He was
Okay.
the first guy I followed. It's hilarious, man. It's endless entertainment with him, bro.
How much of it do you think is actual delusional belief versus how much do you think is actually a performer being a performer? You know what I mean by that. Like, how much of him is aware that he's doing that result oriented, and how much is just him doing it? You know what I mean?
Dude, it could be.
What do you think? Because I haven't followed
No,
him.
no, no.
Yeah.
I think it's 50-50, man. Because, like, every now and then he'll make a post which is, like, pandering to his electorate, like people who will elect him. And the other 50% is just him being an egomaniac. And it's fucking hilarious. like, like recently, I think some people got pissed off. So basically,
Right.
he's been sending, like, because he's going up against Joe Biden. And
Right.
the thing with Joe Biden is it's very apparent that he's deteriorating.
Right.
So Trump came up with a very catchy, like he came up with Crooked Hillary, which is still on people's
Right.
minds, like even if they're not American.
Right.
Um, he came up with Sleepy Joe Biden. All right, and he's blasting that shit on Twitter. Like every time he refers to Joe Biden, never calls him Joe Biden, calls him Sleepy Joe
Hmm.
Biden in every fucking tweet.
Right.
And then he keeps sharing these, videos of him like rambling and like talking shit, like really fucking weird videos where you like for a minute he's just rambling.
Right.
So all the left wingers got on him because he was walking down a ramp really slowly. That was news. For some fuck all reason, that was news. People he like
Right.
CNN blasted the shit out of this that Trump walked
Right.
down a ramp slowly. And they made that
Right.
news. They were like, why it's actually really important that Trump walked down. Like there was literally a headline that said why it's important that Trump walked down this ramp slowly or some shit like that.
Why?
No one knows. But here's the thing. Trump made a thing out of it. So he fucking like he tweeted a response to that. I was walking down the ramp slowly. And like he was kind of giving his own
China.
because it's China.
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 Yeah. No. Yeah. Why? That's insane, and he had a reason for that's.
I mean, that's all. There are people fucking dying by the thousands because of coronavirus. People are
That's
protesting. They're
insane.
creating autonomous zones in your country.
Yeah.
They're blowing shit up,
Yeah.
and that's what you fucking
Yeah.
tweet about. Like it's like, that's
That's
like
that's messed up, man. I want to ask you something now that we brought up Trump,
hmm, yeah,
right? And This is going to be very disagreeable, but let's go for it because it's something that I've been thinking
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
Is okay to succeed by the definition of
yeah,
success that is prevalent in society today, in society that we
yeah.
live in. And let's take like majorities here, right? You look at people like Donald Trump.
Trump.
I was looking back a little while ago. Martin Brando,
Yeah,
actor, right? Top people who okay, whether you agree with Trump or not, he is the president of one of the
yeah.
most powerful countries in the world. Let's put it at that. You made it that far, right? Marlon Brando was a great
And
actor.
apparently he was insane.
I was looking at
He was out of his
dude.
mind.
He used to eat buckets of ice cream.
Apparently,
Um,
in a couple of scenes, he actually like there was a scene where he had to hit someone. He actually fucking hit
yeah,
them, dude. Like
dude, it goes further than that, but I don't think we should talk about it on this chat. I think you've seen that as well. The interview with some actress that was
I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, messed up, man. I'll tell you off
Yeah,
camera, messed
yeah,
up. Um, and that is something that should never be done to anyone. But him, Donald Trump. I was looking at Dennis Rodman, a
yeah. I know Dennis
basketball
Rodman.
player who'd come with like, yeah, he'd come with different
Yeah,
colored
he was a bad
hair,
guy, man. He was the bad boy of
get
basketball.
drunk. Yeah, exactly. Him. Whatever. So many. Michael Jordan also looking at that recent documentary. So many people across time, right? And you see that there's certain traits that were not taught growing
Yeah,
up, but I would say, in my opinion, an ego has served them. Like there's a high sense of
yeah,
self. You
yeah,
see things like
yeah,
disagreeability. Now, whether you want to call high sense of self worth, or you want to call it an ego, they have a lot of fights along
yeah,
the way. Um, whether you want to, that's one trait. Another one is um, disconnection of emotions
yeah,
to the sense that they cut off all else to pursue their goal,
yeah,
or disagreeability to
yeah,
some extent. They're okay with being
yeah.
disagreeable. Um, and certain traits that you're not taught growing up, either socially, or at least I was not taught growing up. And these people end up successful. So do you think these and other traits, do you think disconnecting from emotions, being disagreeable, uh, well, I'm going to call it ego, but maybe in psychology you could define that further. You have a better understanding of the word high sense of self. Do you think these traits are responsible for that? Do you think there are any like other um, traits that go against values we were taught growing up that actually result in success in the world we live in today?
Dude, yeah, definitely, man.
Just a
Definitely,
question. I don't
hundred
have the
percent,
answers.
man. I
Yeah.
think one of the reasons why. So this is actually, I think Jordan Peterson said this.
And just before you start to throw in, like, say, for example, you and I are aware of it because we're both Indian. Say, corruption in business in India. Do you embrace that system or try to fight it and do nothing? For instance, in the business aspects, throwing that in as well, right? People who are okay with doing that to an extent move faster in business. Just put all that in the mix. What are your views on
So
all
I
of it?
mean, that is highly complex, man, because that has a function of your market, right? So
Okay, so let's leave that out. Let's maybe stick to
yeah.
the other more universal traits
So like in
that
terms
are
of
important for
yeah, for
success.
example, okay, so like apparently scientists have studied this really extensively, and
Right.
one so basically on one level, like what creates successful hired candidates. Let's talk about that. So like what are the chances, like what is common amongst those candidates that are qualified for jobs? So
Mm-hmm.
what they found was that there was a very strong correlation between a what is known as a general level of intelligence. So like a
Okay.
general basic amount of intelligence which allows you to solve, like if you can solve 5 tasks really well, what's binding your ability to do those 5 different tasks really well is this general level of intelligence. It's called G.
Right.
Now, the
G.
thing is that they found that the correlation between G
Mm-hmm.
and your ability to perform on the job goes up
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
when the task is more complex. So, the more intelligent you are, the better you'll do a complex task.
Right.
Right. So,
Right.
that's huge. Another thing that they found was
Right.
that so all these guys that you were talking about, they have some level of intelligence which is in all
Right.
likelihood is above average. Like that's the basis of
Right.
being a high performer.
Right.
That's one thing.
Right. Right.
A second
Right.
thing is like,
Very
so a
interesting.
second another two traits that they found common between high performers and like when saying high performer, like top of the food chain performers.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So was conscientiousness, which is your ability to do something which is like to a mind, like to do something systematic, slow over a large period of time and pay a lot of
Hmm.
attention to detail and instruction. That's
Right,
conscientiousness. When you're doing a task with a lot of care for the task,
right,
right? That's highly correlated with success. And another
right.
correlation, like you very rightly mentioned, is disagreeableness. The reason, yeah,
Really?
within an
Okay. Yeah.
organizational setting, the reason why it's important is because when you're disagreeable,
Right.
you are likely to ask for more. So you're not happy with
Interesting.
your salary, you're going to be disagreeable. You're going to say, I'm not okay with that. I think I'm a better performer. Please give it. If you're an agreeable person, you'll be more likely to
Right,
say, well, I agree with whatever's given. I don't want to ruffle any feathers. So
right.
a lot of what Jordan Peterson does is he trains women to be more disagreeable, because one of the reasons why he thinks there's a lot of gender pay gap is because women
Hmm.
tend to be more agreeable than men. It's a statistical fact. I'm not just
Right.
saying this off the top of my head.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, for
So
sure. Yeah.
basically, what he's saying is that if I can train you to be disagreeable, it would eventually lead you to be more successful, just because you're saying no more times than you're saying yes,
Right,
especially when you're
right,
negotiating different things. So
right.
that's,
Interesting. Interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was something studied in that much depth. Hmm.
yeah, what Trump does is I think the reason why he's mostly successful is his ability to guerrilla market, like his outrage marketing.
Right,
Amazing. He says
right,
like scandalous
right,
shit, and he just gets
right.
more and more people into it.
Yeah.
Like the other day, he was giving a speech, and he's like, bro,
Hmm.
he's like, people have called this COVID different things. They call it the coronavirus, they call it COVID, and some have called it the kung flu. And he's saying this to a gigantic crowd, and
That's
everyone starts screaming and cheering like crazy. Thing is, people got outraged, right? And they
yeah.
took that little soundbite and they put that shit on CNN. Now, here's the thing:
Right.
when there's some guy going through the internet who has the same belief
Hmm.
that this is the kung flu, or this is a flu caused by,
Hmm.
this is not American thing. This is a Chinese thing. It's a Chinese virus. And you should be calling it that. They'd
Hmm.
be like, oh wow, look at Trump. He's so awesome. He's saying the truth. 'Cause that's the truth according to them.
Hmm. Right.
But the mechanism that transferred Trump's message to that person or to those people was
Right.
because of his guerrilla marketing, his outrage marketing, which has worked really well, man.
And which is, yeah, which is, and it's free.
It's completely free. You didn't have to pay a penny to CNN
Completely
to come
free. Yeah.
there.
Especially on the other side, the side that disagrees with you, it's
Yeah,
free.
yeah,
Completely. Yeah. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
man. I was like, there's this Twitter trend thing. What are you laughing at, bro?
Yeah. No,
Tell
it's
me,
like,
man.
no, no,
Tell
no.
me.
I'll
Tell
say
me,
this.
man. Come on, bro.
No, no, no.
I'll cut it out if it's fuck all and you want to take it back.
I was going to say, how far is he going to go with guerrilla marketing? Reminds me of what actors do strategically, making sex tapes. When is the day we'll see the Donald Trump sex tape?
Makes sense, man, because he's roasted himself.
Please, yeah, please take the thing off the chat later. Don't picture it. Don't picture it. Don't picture it.
There's no need to picture it, man. One of my friends found a photo of Donald Trump naked, bro.
No.
Dude, and he shared it with me,
Seriously?
man. I was like, don't fucking send it to me. I deleted it 3 times off my phone. I don't want that shit, bro. I don't want that. Like,
Send it to Karan for time's
no,
sake.
bro, it's too disgusting. I don't want to fucking disseminate that shit, bro. Because the moment you share it, like, I don't
Oh
know what the
man.
legal ramifications of fucking sharing that shit is. I just stopped. But it's
Yeah.
too disgusting,
Yeah.
man. He's getting a spray tan. Someone took a photo of this guy while he was taking a spray tan, man. Just think about how crazy people are, man.
That's
That is
insane,
insane.
dude. That's insane.
Hey, bro, how long do I have you for, man?
You have me, dude. You have me. You have me until you
Oh,
don't.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
I give me 5 minutes notice, man.
Let's. Yeah. Yeah. I will. Mm. So nice tat.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, looks nice.
Yeah, man. What else has been up, dude? How's everything going?
I think this is the first awkward silence we've had in like 10 years. I'm kidding. It's not
Yeah, not
awkward.
awkward,
But
man.
the first silence
Shit,
in
why are
like
you awkward, bro?
10 years.
Everything okay?
No, it's because I feel like we spoke of how much time we have. Like
Yeah,
we were going to get back to chatting, and then there was a break because of that, and then that got in my head awkward. Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. What are your views on silence
On
in
silence,
conversation? Yeah,
I've become a little bit more okay with it over time, man. What about you?
yeah. I'm aware that it's okay to be okay with it, but I'm not yet quite there.
Yeah, bro.
Um, yeah,
The worst is when like there's a silence caused by someone saying something like super awkward.
yeah.
That's the worst kind of silence, man. Because uh, I don't know if you were there. You weren't there, man. We were in Nepal, and one of these guys, like, so Jehan was giving one of our friends advice on
Yeah.
how to hit on women or whatever, right?
So everyone who doesn't know, Jan is a very dear friend of both of us who we roomed with and did work with, and one of our closest
Yeah, and
friends.
he's a
Yeah.
complete fucking idiot as well, man. So he's talking to this friend of ours, and he's giving him advice on how to speak to women, right? But our friend and Jehan look completely different. I'm just saying in the initial part, right?
Right.
So just initially, like in terms of when you're meeting someone, Jehan looks way more presentable, and our other friend does not. And it's okay.
Mm.
I'm not judging him for it. I know that, like, I know
Mm.
how I look. I know how other people look, and there's some strengths and weaknesses that come along with it. So that's what I wanted
Right.
to convey to my friend. I was like, hey, man, Jehan is telling you this because he's a tall guy, he's fair looking, and when he goes around,
Mm.
he's got a presence.
Mm.
But what works for him may not work for you. You got to find
Right.
your own thing, right?
Right.
That works. Like, Jehan picks up girls on the street because
Right.
it's something that he's fine with doing. Like,
Right.
he builds curiosity just by virtue of him being him. That may
Right.
not work for you.
Right.
And but the only fuck up is I didn't realize the controversialness, the like how controversial what I was saying was.
Right.
And then there was like this giant awkward silence on the table. That
Right.
was really fucked up, man. What did I just say, bro?
And then someone made it worse after that, no?
Did they?
No, I think you did that. I don't know. I felt like there was a second layer to the story as well.
I think I may have made it worse because I
By
sensed the
saying something after that, what I meant was not this, but what I meant was, and then you more directly said what you had said earlier, making it no better. I think that's what happened.
yeah. And then I was like, bro. Then I was like, yeah, man. Because if you think about it,
I
what
think what you
Jehan
said is
has
that
is like no. Then I explained myself further. But
yeah,
if you were to interpret it, it would come off as me calling him ugly.
yeah, exactly,
I was like, bro,
exactly.
if you
It was
think
like
about it,
those,
cause like Jehan has looks, you have something
right?
else. And then I began to list out what he has.
Oh man.
Uh,
Oh, which takes us to the point, like how much, not this topic, but in general, like how open are people to the truth, and how important is it for people to be told the truth,
oh man,
and when
I think it's
because
important to tell the truth at every point in time. I realize
yeah,
that.
that's amazing,
And
man.
I'm beginning
I respect you for that. I respect you for that.
no, and I'm beginning to learn how to be gentle with the people as well. So, like for example,
Right.
today I was playing tennis with a friend, and the
Right.
dude tells me we're talking about like shots, and I was like, if you have this kind of shot,
Mm-hmm.
you can use this kind of racket. And he's like,
Right.
no, yeah, I got this kind of shot, like
Mm.
like a certain particular type of shot.
Right.
And it was really awkward because he doesn't have that, like he doesn't play like that, but he insisted that he
Right.
played like that.
Right. Right.
I was like, I'm sorry, man, but I didn't say I'm sorry. I just said, no, I don't think so, bro. I don't think
Right.
that's like I don't think that's the way you play your shot. You play a shot
Right.
like this, which is awesome, but you
Right.
definitely don't play it that way.
Right.
And
Right.
and I think it's important. I think it's important to
Yeah.
realize where you're being a bitch and where you're not.
Right. Yeah, and especially in the long run, I think that only works out correctly.
Yeah,
It only works out correctly. There's
yeah,
no. I mean, I've not experienced a case where being directly very honest with two people actually works out in the long run for someone's detriment. Um,
yeah. I mean,
Given everyone has good intentions, yeah.
yeah, man. I mean, but it depends on the
Yeah.
role as well. Like, supposing like if it's my place to say it, I'll say it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Like for like you, if I see you fucking around, for sure I'm gonna tell you. If you see me fucking
Yeah.
around, you bring it out, and you'll bring it out in your own way, but you'll bring it up for sure.
Right.
Um, but like recently, I saw some guy like again same dude. He was like, this girl is really into me, man. I'm really into this girl. I was like, is she
Right.
like, does she like you back? Like, he's like, yeah, definitely, 100%. I was
Right.
like, how do you know? Have you asked her? No, but and at that point in time, I would have been like, dude, it doesn't seem clear to me that she likes you back,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a tough reality to give someone who's like young, like 20.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at that point in time, I didn't feel obligated to tell him anything. I wasn't really so close to him. I was like, yeah,
Right.
man, sure, okay. I wouldn't call him out on his
Yeah.
bullshit then.
Yeah. I
But
think what you said earlier was important. When it's your place and when it's not your place,
yeah,
and you all have to be discerning judges of that. But I also do believe delusion can be helpful to a certain extent for a limited period of time.
yeah, how
I was
so,
talking
man?
to a friend about it. So, like for instance, a friend and I were speaking the other day about another friend
Yeah,
who is sort of well disconnected from reality and has a certain self belief, an
hmm.
extremely strong self belief, but that doesn't match with the external reality, right?
Yeah,
And the interesting thing about this friend is he's not open to feedback at all, at
hmm.
all.
Yeah,
Because feedback doesn't go in, and this has been going on for a long period of time, and it's disconnected with the external reality. In a situation like that, that's not helpful. But I
yeah,
have personally experienced myself and seen with other artists maybe that are like holding on to, like, I'll give you the example of someone else. For example, say John Travolta, for example,
yeah,
has a story when he started acting, and this is more, I guess, applicable to art, but could be applicable to other long run scenarios as well,
yeah.
where he grew up in a house where he was told he was an amazing actor. Like his parents thought he was the best actor in the world.
Travolta.
um, Travolta, because he'd act at home as a kid, but you're a kid, right? And it's your parents. So
Hmm.
that's the feedback loop he got. And then he went out into the real world and he auditioned. And the casting directors told him he was terrible
Yeah,
and that he should quit acting. And he went around for an entire year believing that they were delusional and that they didn't know what they were talking about,
yeah,
right? But obviously, during that year, somewhere, he made probably the changes or something lucked out and he was able to change it later. But that delusion allowed him, given that he had the effort, given that he had the talent, given all that, that delusion allowed him to reach a certain stage where
definitely.
then he was in an environment where he flourished. I'm sure he must have
Yeah,
been open to feedback. I'm sure, but it was for a limited time with talent, with effort. But I
yeah.
believe in like small situations, delusion can actually be helpful for a limited period of time, a very limited
Yeah, I
period of
think
time.
yeah, I think like that delusion has to do with a sense of like a general sense of self worth, man. If you think you're like if you think you're like you're not a loser, if you think you're a winner, right?
Oh yeah,
If you think that you can get like you can obviously fucking win,
right,
then it's all right feeling like a bitch because you know that eventually you'll figure it out.
right. And there has to be a connection to reality at some stage, and there has to be, you know,
Mm.
what I mean, it can't be completely isolated from reality for years.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah,
Like you can like at some point in time the rubber has to hit the road. You got to realize actually no, like the level I think I'm at, I'm actually not.
yeah, yeah,
Like I mean, it's a whole process of reality testing, right? Like for example, with reference to me, like I think one thing which never lies to you is like how badly an opponent beats you at tennis, right? Like
right,
first
right,
6 months you play a game of tennis, you think you're fucking amazing,
right,
but Like you're playing this club, this like fucking sweaty uncle with a fucking big stomach who barely moves around, fucking talks trash to people around as he's playing you, fucking
Right.
treating you really casually, like just hitting the ball wherever the fuck he wants, like saying, "Hey, check this next shot out," like acting like a complete dick, and
Right.
then just the fact that you can't beat him back. The fact
Right.
that you can't do anything. This guy's fucking beating the shit out of you. You're
Right.
15 years younger than him,
Right.
and he has more skill. And like in my mind, like you build the fact that I'm a great mover. I can really well. I can hit the ball really hard and all that
Yeah.
bullshit. But in that
Right.
moment, that time that sweaty guy starts screaming, "Come on, yeah!" Like gets really excited. The fact that
On the tennis court, yeah.
on the yeah on the fucking tennis court,
Yeah.
precisely. Starts fucking
During the
screaming
game, yeah.
during the game,
Sorry.
during the game, bro. What else were you fucking thinking?
I'm so
So
sorry. I couldn't resist that. Yeah.
yeah, I mean that feels like shit, dude. Like that's when you realize like
Yeah.
what you are, like what the fuck your level is. I'm sure everyone has that own kind of reality test,
Oh,
man.
yeah. Reality testing. Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. 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 For sure, man. For sure. And in some weird way, what goes back to what you said earlier, where it's not vocal honesty,
Yeah,
but it's a moment of honesty with self. Getting your ass an external reality matching your thoughts,
yeah,
and the dissonance and the acceptance of that dissonance is
yeah,
honesty. The acceptance of that dissonance is honesty,
yeah, yeah,
for the receiver.
yeah. I have always had a rough relationship with that, man. Because whenever I get a certain level of awareness,
Yeah.
I don't hate the fact that I got the awareness,
Right.
but I hate the fact that I didn't know this. Like, I should have known it. I don't
Right.
care whether or not I'm so bad. I
Right.
care. I get frustrated at the fact that I didn't see this myself, and I had to have an experience to tell me how bad I was.
Right.
And that's always fun.
Right. Yeah, man. It's I think that's it's.
How do you deal with it?
Don't run away from it, man. Want some Netflix or something?
Yeah, it's a fucked up feeling, bro.
No, I feel it's so weird. I feel like every time you do deal with it,
Yeah,
you actually, man. I'm doing research to this,
it's okay,
but I feel
man.
like you get connected every time you do deal with a dissonance block.
Yeah,
You actually get connected to yourself.
yeah,
Once you accept and then deal with, you get connected to yourself on a deeper level.
yeah,
Um, each time you do that,
yeah.
and the more in tune you are with your real self, you're just more one, man. And it actually, to me, it physically affects my voice as well, for sure. Like I know, like when you sometimes when you address something you haven't addressed,
Yeah.
your breath opens up actually, like with no effort on your part, on my part. It's weird.
Wow, I haven't noticed
Like
that.
yeah, I guess I notice it because it's related to what I do. But like, um, if suppose you have a blocked memory,
Hmm.
for instance,
Yeah,
and forget it memory because now that's acting. But suppose you have a conversation that you had to have with someone that you
yeah,
held back,
yeah,
what you really felt.
yeah,
The moment you like, I'll just give you an example. I'll be like, "Hey, Shivam, I really felt that what you did was not that good, and like, and blah blah blah." And I'm speaking from here. That's not what I want to say. What I want to say is, dude, I could not stand. I mean, this is not a real story, but I could not stand what you did, and and I connect to like that. That I'm super honest.
yeah.
The voice changes instantly, and even for a little bit after. And it's not some magic that your voice changes. I think it's because you're more connected to your breath. Um, Something opens up. I think there's a physical mental relationship somewhere there.
That's insane, man. I haven't really noticed that because I'm not so much in tune with my body for sure.
Yeah, and I guess I'm in tune with like those levels because it's what I do for work. But I've noticed that. It's like when you're relaxed. It's like after you do a session of lie down, do that progressive relaxation for a little bit. Your voice is deeper.
Right.
You're connected to your breath. Are you connected to your breath because you were breathing or because you were relaxed? I think it's a combination of both. But I think the relaxation plays a part in it.
That's insane, man.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Um,
yeah. I guess there was also like I guess you probably have some level of tension leading up to that moment, which you kind of just
Yeah, for sure.
release, which you release once you've let go control. You know what I'm saying? Like you kind of just let go of it,
Yeah,
and that's what kind of
yeah,
works with your breath.
for sure, for sure.
That's
And I take it a step further. Definitely that you have more tension building up to that moment because you're
yeah.
coming close to it. But I'd say there's some level of subconscious tension if you hold on to something big
Hmm.
that stays through the day. That just stays. You know what I mean? Over
Hmm.
time. I think my theory is that it stays.
No, definitely, man. I know a couple of people in my family who experience like a lot of like they're just in general anxious people, and
Right.
they experience like all kinds of manifestations of that stress. Like they have like issues with their jaw,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they have like different like so they like they've but they don't do it consciously. So they're not doing it when they're
Yeah.
awake. They're doing it
Right.
like they're clenching their jaw when they sleep.
Right.
That's a
Right.
physical
Right.
manifestation of that stress, of that tension, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. For sure. Man.
that shit can actually like fucking like literally kill you early, man. If you're someone who's prone to getting like it can lead to an early death if you like that like if you don't figure out how to handle that stuff.
120%. And there's a lot of anecdotal evidence. I don't know if someone's researched it, but
Mm,
like holding back emotion
yeah,
physically manifests in a body part
yeah, definitely,
then that which then over time compounds.
100%, 100%. It definitely does, especially in like your your muscular, your posture, your musculoskeletal system, things like that, which is
Yeah,
insane.
yeah. Which is weird is if you wonder, and I guess a little bit of not dealing with the situation is dishonesty.
Yeah,
A little bit of it, right? Either with yourself or someone else. Because if you were fully honest, I guess you wouldn't be suppressing something if you were fully honest. I don't know. Maybe I'm taking that a bit too far, but
yeah. No, I think that's a fair conclusion to come to. I think that's a
yeah,
fair
it's
conclusion to come to.
it's a light conclusion. It's not a very hyper correlated thing,
Yeah,
but I feel that like maybe somewhere nature is dis um disincentivizing dishonesty at a micro level.
because you
I don't know because the impacts of that are negative at a very subtle level, mentally and then physically. I don't know. Just a thought. I don't have anything to back it up.
that's
But
interesting. I mean, I don't know if that's it, or I don't know.
not at a societal level. I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah.
at an individual level, I'm talking about an individual level. I don't know if that is it, or if a psychological threat is being translated as a physical threat at the level of your body. I don't know which one it is. It could be what you're saying,
Ah.
or it could be the other way around. Like,
Yeah, I don't know either. That's also a possibility for sure, man.
yeah, in a way, it could be like either,
Yeah.
either or. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, because I know, like, that whole thing of, how they train
Mm-hmm.
elephants, right?
Yeah, with the thread on the
With the
leg
thread
or
on the
the
leg.
chain on the leg.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
eventually.
yeah,
So, like,
yeah.
at that point in time, the thread isn't physically fucking present, right?
Mm, right.
But like, you still imagine that it's there. So your body kind of psychologically takes on the presence of.
Actually, I think that makes more sense. It goes to that. I don't know which you know this, but which form of therapy is it? Where it's not about the event, but it's the belief associated with the event that creates
Yeah, yeah.
stress. What form is that? Is that REBT or
That
CBT?
is
I don't know.
REBT actually. That's the ABC model of REBT.
Yeah, so I guess it's the mental programming of the view of that situation that creates the stress
Yeah,
within of that external thing,
yeah. But
right?
at the same time,
Maybe someone
sorry. Go ahead. Maybe someone.
no, maybe for someone, I'm saying a very radical example, enjoys murder, and maybe they don't feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? What really helped me like be honest with myself once. I think I was. I wasn't. It wasn't like I was being dishonest with myself. But it
Hmm.
was. like I was stuck. Like I felt like I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what
Mm-hmm.
my next 4 months' actions and orientations will be. I'm saying, like, I
Mm-hmm.
was working, I had my own thing, I knew I had a reason to get up in the morning. That's all good, but I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have any clarity on how I was going to go about doing it or why I was going to go about doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And this experience was fucking transformational for me. It was like I'm not going to use any earphones. I'm not going to have any music on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to take my phone to write notes on,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I'm just going to take a walk.
Mm-hmm.
So I took a solitary walk by the sea at around 7 p.m. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, as much as possible, I'm going to meditate on this problem. What do I need to do? With the
Right.
assumption that at a certain part of my being, I knew what I had to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, just to discover that. And I took that walk, and like by the time I was back from the walk, I had like a list of 5 things, and I was like, these are going to be my orientations for the next 2 or 3 months, and that really worked out well for me, man. I mean, I've
Right.
done that a couple of times because like
Mm-hmm.
I was really confused that day. I was super confused, but
Right.
it really worked, man. That stuff really helped.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. I think I don't know whether it's, but I guess it's somewhere trusting the knowledge that is already there, um, in you, right?
Yeah,
You know the answer, and just giving yourself that isolation, even if for a very brief period, to really connect with that and listen to that. Um, that's amazing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you meditate, man?
I do.
You do every day?
Yeah,
Sorry, you were saying something?
almost every day. Yeah, just to go back to that thought of yours, it's something that like I remember a lot of people discovering themselves while traveling,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
right? And even I did to a certain extent.
yeah,
I
yeah.
realized that when I solo travel, the voice in my head got louder,
Yeah.
uh, the sound of it was louder, and then I thought, why was that? And then I realized, I'm disconnected from all my daily habits of my previous environment,
Yeah,
so there are no referral cues on a daily basis.
yeah,
I'm also disconnected from people that I know,
yeah,
um, which have like constant referral cues to micro events, thoughts, feelings. So you're alone.
yeah,
So all of a sudden you don't have those external cues. So the internal cues volume is, I mean, it's like having your headphones on at a really loud party, or having your headphones on uh, alone at the beach. That volume of your headphones is a lot louder.
and you
The
can
music is
focus
on
on them.
both them. Yeah, you can focus on it. You cut out the noise, and I think somewhere isolation
Yeah,
or calming the mind has an effect on listening to what you said, your inner voice. I don't know, call it an inner voice, but your thoughts,
yeah.
and genuinely hearing them out. Yeah,
I think that definitely makes a lot of sense, man. In terms of,
yeah, and yeah, and I do meditate. I love meditating.
how often do you meditate, man? Every day?
Yeah, at least once a day, sometimes twice.
How many hours? Like
At
how much?
present,
How many minutes? Or
no,
like, sorry,
not.
I took it up a notch, bro. How many minutes a day?
The morning 20 minutes for sure, and then in the middle of the day, I'll do like a quick 10-minute sort of thing. One sec, is correct. Yeah, so I meditate twice a day.
Yeah,
Definitely once
yeah,
in the morning, and then sometimes in the evening.
yeah,
I've personally realized, like, well, I I like to keep the main thing the main thing. It's funny. I was talking to Pushan the other day, and he said this nice quote. He said the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing,
yeah,
right? So I kind of use, I wouldn't call it pseudo, but I use things from other disciplines to assist the main thing. So whereas I'm doing meditation not purely for sake of meditation or for the outcome it may be designed to, but I take it and use it for my outcome.
right.
Um, so I do 20 minutes of a meditation in the morning, because I find that on days that I do meditate in the morning,
Yeah,
um, I sometimes have issues with focusing. Um, I have issues with focusing, particularly with seated tasks like digital tasks, WhatsApp,
oh yeah, man.
writing things down. It's really, I don't know, man, I don't know if it's a personality thing or. So I find on days that I meditate, I get a nice clear wave of thought till about lunch,
Yeah.
which really helps me. In tasks that I'm thrown into that are physical, I have my concentration fully. Like if I'm in an audition, no problem. But like when I have to sit, look at a phone and like type something out, send a mail, get like that really, on days I meditate, that's a lot easier. And I realized that somewhere halfway through the day, then like usually if I go for auditions and now there's some other work, towards 4 in the evening,
Mm.
my focus again gets a little, I guess maybe the day creates thoughts in your head. There's like slightly unfocused again.
Yeah, you get a
So
little bit of a
I thought
slump.
exactly a slump. And on days that you're in a high energy task, it's not exactly a slump, but the mind is turbid, as you would say. If it was like dust and water and you shook it, it's not
Yeah.
settled. And on days when I don't have an activity like now, there's a slump.
Right.
But I feel like at that point, I need something else to reset the day. So, for example, if it's a leisurely day and I nap even for 20
Yeah.
minutes, you wake up with that mental calm. Or if it's is meditating, I regain that focus for the second half of the day.
Yeah.
So I find these really helpful.
Mm.
Not necessarily that it's meditating. Like even if I wake up in the morning and I work out,
Yeah.
I get a nice like 3 hour sort of
Boost of
on
productivity.
feeling. Yeah, which helps. Yeah, absolutely boost the productivity, good feeling. And I just found meditation is a consistent way to do that for the body and the mind. Like, um, and yeah, it helps, man. So I do it.
Yeah, dude.
Actually, another actor put me onto this.
Meditating?
Funny, well, I did it on and off
Mm.
before, but I didn't understand its importance in the field I was in. And I just like asked. I remember one acting teacher had said yoga and meditation are important, and I said why. And many many years ago at a workshop, and he said that you like as an actor, it's an unstable profession. A to start off with, and B you keep re-experiencing if you're a method actor negative emotions. So it's important to break those patterns as much as you can, so you don't get into loops. And he said you don't see it now, but you see it over a period of like 8 to 10 years, where a lot of emotions, well, I don't know, I don't want to sound pseudoscientific, but emotions reside in your body.
Yeah.
And those develop into thought patterns which can push you in the line of addiction, etc. It's like if you look at a lot of great method actors, like the further they go, the better they get at their acting. Big actors, they start losing the plot a bit. Now there's no research to support this, but other than experientially, um, but it crossed my mind, but I didn't fully follow it. And then I had an actor friend who I reached out to once who does pretty well at his work,
Yeah.
very well commercially. So I said, "What do you do?" And he told me two things. He said, one is I uh, go after every single opportunity that comes, every single opportunity. Without thinking of the outcome, I just go for it. Some go well, some don't, but I go for it. So if it's 5 auditions a day, I'll do it. And he said the second thing I do is I meditate every morning because it's an unstable field and the ups are high and the downs are low. But that just gives me a sort of base
Yeah.
that keeps me calm through the process and gives the fulfillment from within and not outside. And sometimes like when you take advice from successful people, it may not be as complicated, it may not be as voluminous, it may not be this magic pill,
Yeah.
but just a simple thing. And it's just a sort of a simple bro hack that I saw work for someone else, picked it up, and it worked for me, so I kept it.
I've only ever needed to meditate in the past 2 or 3 months for a span of I think around 3 or 4 days. It was
Uh-huh.
immensely fucking helpful. I was
Uh-huh.
working on a paper which was around. So the thing with an academic paper is that you like in order to write one paragraph, you probably need to go through like four large articles, and those four large articles would
Wow.
be 20 pages each. But the
Right.
information that you're looking for from those articles is very specific. And what you're trying to
Right.
do is you're trying to build an argument basically.
Right.
You're trying to use sources to build an argument. Now
Right.
the problem is that when you're using those sources to build the argument, you make one paragraph, but then like imagine doing that for like 5 paragraphs in the span of a couple of hours. It's
Right.
mentally exhausting.
Right.
And then after like
I can imagine.
yeah, after it is exhausting. Like after a point, like y- you're like, you literally cannot, like, I could not watch TV. I couldn't do anything else. I was like, I need a break and I need to reset my mind.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I don't know if meditation really achieves that, but
Hmm.
it was immensely helpful. I mean,
That's the,
of course, there's a dip in my productivity because obviously I was using it as like a boost,
right.
but it was really helpful.
A dip in your productivity in the sense
Um,
because not because of the meditation
Not
or because
because
of
of
the
the
meditation.
obviously not because of the meditation. This was
Right.
because of
Right.
the fact that my brain was literally, it was fried.
So I want to ask you a question on this because this is not something that I've read. Like, fitness magazines are popular,
Mm,
all these other things are popular. But my experience, and you'd have much more experience in this, is I remember days when we were in college
yeah,
and we had to do a lot of cerebral work,
yeah,
right? Like staring at a screen, thinking. You have like this adrenaline flow when
yeah.
you're in the zone. You also have a fucking terrible crash at the end. I had a terrible crash at the end. Like I feel like even though it's not a physical task, it
Mm,
requires a lot of concentration,
yeah.
and that may require nutrition or like it drains you. It drains you. The concentration drains you. What's your experience of that? Do you find that to be a thing? Because you do a lot of work that is reading based, research based. You find that there's a lot of energy expenditure just sitting, thinking, working on something
Yeah, I mean,
like
definitely.
writing.
It's not, the thing is that when you're actually doing a lot of this stuff, it's not like I'm sitting and I'm thinking. Like,
Right.
that's the traditional way we look at academics, right? Um,
Hmm.
the whole thing about what I'm doing is basically just forwarding ideas. So I'm
Right.
essentially synthesizing ideas to attempt to create knowledge. Knowledge,
Right.
like, I would have created knowledge if I would have done extensive research, but I did some research. I didn't do an extensive amount of research. Just to clear that up. I don't know why I felt the need to clear that up.
That's fine.
So yeah, it definitely does drain you. And it also depends on the nature of the task. If the task is like just going through like bunch of papers looking for something,
Yeah.
then I get really jittery. Like, for me
Right.
to read for a prolonged period of time, I need to have a certain reason why I'm reading it. Like, assigned readings
Right.
were, I mean, I would finish every one of my assigned readings which I was given.
Right.
For the most part,
Right.
I would finish it, and that's a lot. Like every 2 days, it's like around 100, 150 pages, 200 pages,
Oh. Okay. Wow. Yeah.
depending on the
It's almost an
course.
entire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the thing with me is I get really jittery, and I also like to listen to stuff more than read it. It's a personal thing.
Mm.
So what I
Mm.
do is I got this read aloud application on my iPad.
Mm.
It's
Nice.
really fucking good. Like, you just, all you need to do is
Wow.
and it reads to you. And the thing is, it reads. It's not stochastic. Like, it's not.
It's not staccato in
Yeah,
the
it's
sense
not
it's not.
staccato. Yeah, it's
It's smooth and human, closer to human-like than
yeah. They get
uh,
AI to read it.
robotic.
It's not
Yeah.
like it's reading. It's not like those old school things which do it.
There
Yeah,
was a dog in the park. No, not
none
that.
of that
Like,
bullshit. Yeah, it's a proper.
yeah.
It's a good thing. So that's what I do. I'm listening to it as I'm doing something else, and I
Yeah.
found that, like, my recall has been pretty good, even though I'm listening to it and doing something else.
Right.
Like, I'm cooking and I'm reading it. I'm doing my dishes and I'm reading it. I'm listening to it. It works for me.
Right. That's amazing, man. That's
Yeah.
amazing. I feel like stuff like this, like in things that are visible,
Yeah.
like in a discipline like fitness or something, these things are visible and can be quantified
Yeah.
and trained. But I feel like I don't know how much, maybe the people who explore it that I haven't come across, but like in the field of like mental concentration, yeah, there are people in that field as well. But like in terms of the nature of what you do using a computer, mental concentration, thinking, analyzing, sifting through data, I'm sure there are a lot of like techniques that may be self-discovered
Yeah.
or research that could really help with the process.
Dude, I mean, see, the thing is, I think, really, this is one thing I've realized from my own productivity. I might be sitting at the desk for 8 hours
Right.
or 9 hours or how much ever, 10 hours. But I guarantee that
Yeah.
all 9 of those hours are never going to fucking be productive. I 100%, I guarantee, I challenge anyone to tell me that they get to work at 9 and work till 6, and that's
Right.
the only thing that they do.
Right.
I challenge them to prove to me and show to me that they can actually work for 5 hours out of those 9 hours.
Right.
My I
Right.
think a closer approximation of how productive those 9 hours are is actually 4 hours
Yeah.
out of those
Yeah.
9 hours.
Two on a low end, 4.5 on a high end, somewhere in that
And
range.
those guys that can get shit done are those who
Yeah.
can do like 6 or 7 hours of work that they don't really want to do, like
Right.
regular, like following up on something, or like basically like like constant administrative work. Those people who can kind of follow
Right.
up on that stuff, I think,
Right.
are the ones who are super productive. Like, for example,
Right.
but that's hard to do. It's really hard to do. Like, even when I was planning my day out,
Oh, of
I
course.
would plan it out in such a way where I would have to do like the boring stuff, the administrative work,
Yeah.
like not more
Yeah.
than 3 hours in a day. Everything else would be like either like
Right.
everything that suits me, conversations, looking at things, reading up about something, like things like
Right.
uh,
No, for sure, man. Did you try to get that in the beginning of your day or at the end of the day, or is there a time you try to get that stuff out of the way?
it depends. Actually, I don't care so much about when I get it in as much as
Yeah.
if what I'm getting in is attached to a goal. If it's not attached to a
Right.
goal, I will not fucking do it. If
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So like if it's like, okay, you got if I'm applying for jobs, for example, I'm looking to apply to 10. Once I have it in my mind that I'm going to apply to 10 jobs in the day,
Yeah.
that's what I'm aiming towards. That's what I'm working
Got
towards
it.
for the most part.
Yeah. No, that makes sense, man. That makes
Yeah.
perfect sense. Interesting.
When you do meditate, dude, when you meditate,
Mhm.
like what are you doing exactly? How do you kind of meditate?
So this is kind of it's strange, right? Because you have levels of awareness, and initially, like, so freeform meditation when you're doing nothing,
Hmm.
like where you just allow your thoughts to go past, like visit them for a second, let them go, or progressive relaxation through the body as one form. Um, in most forms of meditation, and you could count anything as meditation through this definition, in my opinion, is concentrate. It's a mixture of concentration and relaxation.
Yeah.
So you have your concentration on one thing, but you're also relaxed at the same time, right? It's not like a hyper, like a kill someone concentration, but it's still a focus on that. I'd say focus is a better word. Focus and relaxation. And I found the easiest thing. I have trouble with freeform meditation. I can't. I go all over the place. Um,
Yeah.
I find that a guided meditation allows the voice to be the focal point. So I know
Hmm.
if I'm straying from that voice, from really listening to that voice, I know if I'm straying from that. So that's
Yeah.
one point of concentration for me or focus. And then the other one is the breath, my physical breathing.
Yeah.
So I usually use one of those as a point of concentration, as a point of focus.
Hmm.
And
Focus.
I switch between the two. I haven't quite figured out which one, if anyone, is superior in any way, but I switch between the two, or sometimes try to do both at the same time. I mean, you breathe and listen, but like that is helpful to me having that concept. That being said, like often, like say a conversation that we're having in flow, if we're both relaxed and concentrated, is meditation because you leave. I mean, by this definition, is meditation or has a similar outcome in the effect that um, we're focused, we're relaxed, and present in the moment, which allows
Right.
that it allows a similar feeling, maybe not lasting as long, assuming there are no like
Hmm.
embedded commands in the meditation you're doing or doesn't achieve some other like physical or spiritual purpose. So
Yeah, definitely, man.
yeah, I find that interesting too. Like um, to be I don't know, singularity of purpose is really attractive to me.
Hmm.
To have singularity of purpose, and I feel that sometimes having that allows a level of meditation through the task itself.
Right. Yeah.
Through the task, I've not reached that
Yeah.
space. I would love to reach that space someday, where the task itself is the meditation. I'm not there, but I would love to be there. You know what I mean? You see it with some super
Um,
musicians who are really. I think I'm not fully familiar with the concept of flow, but when someone is fully involved in a task, it's almost meditative. Almost
yeah,
meditative.
in that, like,
Yeah.
in that, the for it to be qualified as meditation, like, when I'm saying qualified as meditation, I'm saying for it to be, to have the psychological effects of meditating,
Uh huh.
it would need to be repetitive. That's the only thing. So you, anything.
Right.
So if you're taking a
Right.
walk, you can meditate through the motion of your feet, repeating like one after the other.
Right.
If you're on a treadmill, you could literally just lay your focus on one leg going in front of the other. Maybe
Right.
distracting because you're trying to figure out how to breathe and where your hands go and things like that. But if you can focus on just your feet moving repetitively,
Right.
that would, you could consider that meditation as well.
For sure, man. I was listening to this talk by Charles Poliquin the other day. Again, same guy, the Olympic coach, and someone asked him about meditation, mindfulness
Yeah,
meditation, and he said, "I've done all the courses,
yeah,
and there is merit to it, but I feel it's highly overpriced and overhyped in the sense that just what you said. He said is the repetitive nature that actually has the effect. So even if you were to sit here right now and say onion, 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 onion 1,000 times, but really focus on that, it'll have almost entirely the same effects. And I've seen that with my grandmom. Just to share like a personal anecdote,
yeah.
she lost all her memory after a brain surgery in about 1990.
Hmm.
And she was in a coma for a month. They told her that she'd lose her entire memory. And when she came out of it, she didn't have a huge chunk of her memory, and like she'd call a curtain a bucket, and like that level of mismatch in her memory. And they said we don't know if she'll ever be able to fully have memory again. And one of her friends who was into this basically gave her those beads,
Yeah,
the 120 beads, to like sort of count and chant something. And the friend at that point insisted that if you forget anything, you start all over again, right? So she's at any point, if you forget which number you're on, or what you were saying, all the way. And she did that. And she doesn't meditate. She does a bit of yoga, but a bit of asana.
yeah.
She walks daily, but she does this. She got virtually all her memory back. Um,
Wow.
and is super focused. Now, there's no way to say whether it was because of this.
Yeah,
There's no way to know that.
yeah,
But it's one of the things she says till today really helped her. And she said slowly things started coming back,
yeah,
and my focus started and my memory started improving. I had no like scientific proof, but this is her story. So maybe there's some merit in, as you said, the repetitive nature of a thing, concentration and the repetitive nature.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, man. I've been using. I Have you used an app to help you meditate ever?
I tried once, Headspace.
Headspace.
Um, have you used an app?
I have. I don't know if it was, or if it is what it is. Oh yeah, it's not. I tried Headspace, but it was too, like, they were trying to
Too
sell.
simple.
No, no, they were trying to sell
Yeah.
too much, man. Like, they
Yeah.
really wanted me to buy something,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
hadn't tried the app out enough. For that reason, I got another one, which one of my so one of my cohort friends who was studying IO psychology with me, he's doing the effects of leadership and meditation, which is
Oh wow.
which is an odd subject to do in my college. Like, that's like
Hmm.
nobody has that. So I was like, whoa, man, that's crazy. Very friendly guy. So I was like, dude, give me a few tips on meditation, man. Like, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, just in general, people in the US consider it douchey to talk about meditation all the fucking time. Like, oh,
Hmm.
you're one of those dickheads. So
Right.
so people generally avoid talking about it. But I was like, bro, tell me, man.
Right.
And he suggested that I use this app called Calm, just
Yeah, I've
CALM.
heard of the app. I'm gonna write that down. Yeah. Or I'll ask you about it later, man.
Yeah,
I'll
no,
take
no,
it
it's
from you on
definitely,
message.
yeah, it's really
Yeah. Yeah.
good. You can either, like, they have a whole bunch of free basic courses,
Yeah.
and you can choose whether or not you want to do a 15 or 10-minute session. And
Right.
this person is talking you through the meditation. But the beauty about it is, like, they give you rules. So they'll say that it's like a muscle. So like today for 2 minutes focus on nothing, and then spend
Right.
another 2 minutes letting your mind go crazy. Just focus on whatever the fuck you want to. Just let your mind wander if
Right.
you want. And then they're like, okay, now 2 minutes later, bring it back. And they're kind of
Right.
training you with different techniques, which is
Oh,
crazy.
wow, this sounds amazing. Yeah.
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 It was weird because I never looked at meditation as mind techniques.
Right.
Like I just like you focus on one thing, you focus on another thing. But like just the whole thing of focusing on your breath and then changing, bringing your attention to your body, then bringing your attention to some sound or to a visual cue, and like all different kinds of things. So they were kind of
Wow.
messing with how you think, and those were the
Right.
various techniques. So like I did it for like 5 days, but
Wow.
every day I did it was like a whole new thing that I learned. It was pretty cool.
That sounds fascinating. I wasn't aware of this. I'm gonna definitely check it out,
Yeah,
man.
neither
Sounds
was I
really, really
before
cool.
that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I'd met a lady who had gone to Sadhguru's ashram,
Yeah.
and I had a sort of like banter with her back and forth because we were both actors at an audition.
Mm.
And I said, I find that meditation doesn't help with acting for XYZ reason. And then she told me something around what you're saying. She said, no, it's not about a state, but it's about having the control to move from state to state and choosing which state you move to.
Yeah,
That was pretty
and
interesting.
having like
And
strategies to do
sim-
that, like
wow.
yeah, like knowing when to let your mind wander, knowing when to bring it back. Like
Yeah.
that concept. Like your brain is going to wander, and you should let it wander. But there's a
Right.
context in which you have to do that, and there's a context
Right.
in which you have to stop it, and just
Right.
being able to recognize when that context is.
Right. How interesting, man.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Cool. Check it out.
Yeah, but what's weird is I avoid meditation like the plague, bro. I don't know why, what it is about
My,
meditation and me, but the energies just don't go, man. Like I'm just like I always want to keep my brain occupied and like I keep wanting to have it consume something or the other. But
right.
yeah,
Right.
but I don't know what it is.
Dude, we are timing. My mom just walked in and she says the same thing. She says that meditation makes her feel physically sick. Mom, is that true? Meditation makes you feel physically sick?
Hi, Auntie, how's it going?
He's saying, hi, how's it going?
Yes.
My mom's making sourdough bread.
Ooh, nice,
Uh,
man.
yeah.
What,
An interesting fact.
with wheat, or is it with wheat in it, or does it have what
So,
bread is it? Like what grain is it?
so far it was atta. It was atta and sourdough starter, but now she's making half atta, half wheat.
Half atta, half wheat.
Which gives me,
Half fine
yeah,
ground wheat and half wheat.
yeah, correct.
Okay.
And interestingly, the air bubbles
Hmm.
um, are, are what happens after the starter. Mom, the starter eats the yeast, or the yeast eats the starter? Oh, so the starter, that's the bacteria. The air bubbles are the
Yeah.
bacteria farting actually.
Yeah.
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 So I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's how you
So
get
when the
like dough to rise. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know it's real bacteria farting.
Yeah, bro. Look at me talking like I'm some expert cook. I learned online past couple of months because of lockdown, bro. Because
Yeah.
of
No, you are a pretty good cook, man.
yeah. But this whole baking and everything, like we tried making some sourdough. Sorry, no, we tried trying getting the equipment to make bread, but we never ended up. I think the best that we did was high protein cheesecake.
That sounds
Dude, it
delicious.
was Greek yogurt,
Yeah.
uh, fuckloads of vanilla protein,
Yeah.
and fat-free cream cheese.
Yeah.
So it's basically like one slice was around 250 calories, but like 19 or 20 grams of it's pretty decent.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's yum, dude.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna be slightly guarded because my mom's in the background.
It's all good, man. It's all good, dude. Yeah, I noticed. It's all good, man.
Yeah, I noticed you noticed. I was like, let's put the elephant in the
In
room on
fact, you
screen.
noticed me notice, and then you said it. That was really weird.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit, like, fuck.
Yeah. Anyway, what else is up? How's studies? How's academia?
I'm not. All good, bro. Yeah, I've been.
Yeah,
I've like I said, I've been reading a lot. I've been reading a lot on the history of BJP and like also like just the whole thing. Like, I'm not focused enough on Hinduism just generally because
right,
I mean recently I explored the notion that okay I am mostly atheist, right? But
right.
the thing is that like in general you can't. Uh, what one of the people said is like you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like what atheists do is they say none of these structures are valid. None of these historical, religious, spiritual structures are actually valid. So we
Hmm.
so it's all dogma and it's all superstition. So why should we fucking believe in that shit?
Uh-huh.
And they throw it all out. And a lot of these
Right,
guys do that. So a lot of these authors like Richard Dawkins and all these guys, they don't believe in anything religious. They say it's bullshit. It's dogma created to control minds, like, and some of it is absolutely absurd. Therefore,
uh-huh.
none of it is valid.
Right,
And even if it is valid, and even if it is valid in that it gives you some level of moral growth,
right,
you can do without it.
right,
And I've been reading a lot of arguments to actually say that no, that's not really completely 100% true. You can't
right,
throw the baby out with the bathwater. There is like
right,
like religions do have certain information that you would not be able to get just by yourself in your own lifetime. That's
right,
that's what spiritual
right,
knowledge to a very large extent is. Like it can tell you strategies
right,
on how to be a great person just by virtue of their lessons. And you
right,
probably wouldn't stumble upon these lessons in your own life. And when
right.
you throw the, as an atheist, when you throw the baby with the bathwater,
You're disregarding some good things out of a system that you don't agree with for other reasons.
you're disregarding a lot of things, like a lot of things. Or,
Right, right,
for example, I think the Bhagavad Gita says, don't like just one of the huge, very huge messages that it says, like, don't focus on the outcome of your action, just focus on getting
right,
your action up.
right,
And that's a very relieving notion, man. Just saying that I can't control what happens after my action, like over a
right,
large period. Like there's only that much effect that I can cause.
right,
So why not
right,
work on being the best cause that I can
right,
to change the way things are affected by itself? And that's a beautiful
right.
fucking idea. That's an amazing idea. But if you're
And
atheist,
it's
you're gonna think that that's fucking
one
dogma, and you're gonna throw that.
right.
So I'm
Yeah,
kind of
that
struggling with that
that's a
stuff.
huge. Oh, interesting, man. Yeah, that's a huge loss. I think the problem that people come across, or at least myself, because I'm in a similar boat to you, uh, where I wouldn't say I'm atheist. I wouldn't go as far as saying that because I haven't done the research either way. I'd probably say I'm agnostic. But but in the sense that I think the problem comes when religion is not even when religion, when anything is used out of context,
Hmm.
that's where problems start to arise. So there's so much beauty in religion,
Yeah.
and when it's used in context, it's so beautiful, it's so helpful. Well, what sometimes becomes troublesome with religion or with anything else is when it's used out of context. Um, for instance, like what is a good example? I It's a bit controversial to say.
Say it,
Remember,
bro.
Nene.
I mean, you're not pissing someone off, man. No one's gonna take you out of context, bro.
Okay, I eat all meat, right?
Nice.
And Muslims eat beef.
Yeah.
They don't eat pork,
Yeah.
right? And I have so many Muslim friends, and this is one example. I'm sure Hinduism has more examples of this, and so does Christianity. Every religion has something taken out of
Yeah.
context that was developed in a context.
Yeah.
So, say for example, and this is just my understanding, if you were in a desert, this is completely my understanding, not based on research, but if you were in a desert religion, right? A religion formed in a desert where conditions of life were harsh. Of course, hygiene is super important,
Yeah.
right? The last thing you'd want to do is to jeopardize your health
Yeah.
in an already difficult survival environment. So then not eating a scavenger that eats rubbish or would harbor disease internally like a pig
Yeah.
makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Uh, absolute sense. But now, in say 2020, when the pig is fed apples and wine,
Yeah.
maybe not wine, but apples in Germany, um, is the context in which the belief was created still relevant, or does that represent? Or if I'm wrong here, does the belief represent something else? Like, remember when we went to Malaysia and the women were allowed to work in Islam
Yeah.
and were put out in public, and they were at toll booths and they were everywhere. That was very pleasant. It was a different form of Islam. I forget the name. I don't know if you remember this though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was it had evolved to a context, or even in Hinduism, certain beliefs that are left. I think Sikhism was a sort of counteraction to certain beliefs being held on to that weren't working in a certain context. I don't know. What do you feel about that? About context and religion?
No, I think the problem is that everyone there, like, there are always certain groups of people that go fundamentalist, man, that decide to interpret these texts literally within their literal fucking meaning, which is
Right.
so dangerous, bro. Because, like, for example, the Quran says that if a woman is not a virgin before
Yeah.
her wedding day,
Right.
if on her wedding day she's found to be not a virgin, she should be
Right.
stoned to death. That's what it
Right.
says. And there are the
Right.
problem, like, you and I both agree it's bullshit.
Right.
Right? We'd say it's crap. And same thing with Hinduism. Hinduism is not like, there's no religion which hasn't said stupid shit in its scriptures.
Sati. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
got sati. It's got the whole class system. It's the basis of the class system. People use it to justify the class system.
Right.
And my point was that all of these things have bullshit. The problem is that there are actually people. There are literally a fuck ton of people, like a legitimate high amount of people who actually believe this bullshit. So they actually
Right.
believe in a lot of the stuff
Right.
that we have written off, saying this is complete and utter bullshit,
Right.
just because it exists in a religious text, just because
Right.
it's been there for 4,000 years. We got to keep it.
Right.
They're fundamentalist.
Right.
That's fucking dangerous.
Yeah, I agree. I think, yeah, I think there's a lot of wealth and wisdom in religion that you might agree with, and
Yeah.
knowledge that can only be learned over generations or in whatever manner. To completely disregard it would be silly. And I think we live in a culture where we can pick and choose what works. I think context is so important,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Man.
And to evolve for every belief to evolve
Yeah.
as things change. Adaptability. Um,
Yeah, man.
just give me a sec. Santosh, mummy andar gaye? Yeah, what's up, dude? Though I forgot halfway, but still, yeah.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, so I went in. I decided to go into this rant because I realized that you were distracted for a few seconds. So yeah, man, what's
Yeah.
up? How's it going? Fuck, you meditating? You're working out? What what's your diet like nowadays, man? Are you eating something crazy? Are you trying some crazy fucking supplement?
Dude, no, I'm not. I'm not yet, but just the basics, like all the multivitamins and enzyme, creatine, protein.
Mm.
Wow, I love that. I guess I love how things are relative. There's some guy watching this video out there will be like, "That's basic. That is like steroid, bro." Oh.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, but some other dude would be like, "Oh, dude, man, I've tried fucking Anabar. That's like baby shit. That's not a supplement, man." I don't know. It's contextual, but yeah, all the multivitamins, uni enzyme, protein, creatine.
Mm.
But I'm up to, dude. So today I'm up 10 pounds since January.
Since January, dude, that's amazing, man.
Yeah.
That's like what, a 10% growth, like a 6% growth in what, in like 6 months. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's the first. I think, yeah, it's definitely good. Thanks. And I think the most exciting part for me
Yeah.
is that it's now, as Shrisha ma'am would once said, it's a clear cause and effect relationship. And come on, do it for us once.
It is not a one-to-one cause and effect relationship, but it can be observed that it is not. It is a. I forget what she said, man.
Phenomena.
Dude, they made me do this in front of her. You know that. You were there. Were you there? They made me
No, really?
do this in front of her, and I had to tone it down.
I think I either heard the story or I saw it, and she was just kind of like awkward about it, like a half smile.
And this is when
No, I was there.
oh,
I
it
was
was in her
there. You know
balcony,
where it
bro.
was?
It was in her
In
house
her
on her
balcony? No, no,
balcony.
no. Oh, fuck.
And
That's hard.
it was like it was so awkward, man. And I swear I toned it down. I really toned it down. But anyway, so you were saying,
That's hilarious, dude. No, that's hilarious, man. I'm just picturing that whole scene.
yeah,
Risha, man. She's cool.
he was cool.
What was I saying? Yeah, but it's so nice. Like when you help me with the fitness tracker
Yeah,
to like actually track my macros.
yeah,
Like now I'm actually able to understand in terms of physical work put in and diet.
yeah,
I'm able to actually see that A causes B
yeah.
or lack of A causes lack of B. And it's that clear. And just having that clarity and understanding doesn't make it amorphous or strange. It makes it so under, uh, understandable, quantifiable. You understand input output. It's really
You can
nice.
like I
And
think you can tweak around like a lot of stuff there because one thing which this whole tracking thing and the 5 meal thing we've started in Jan. I've more or less
yeah,
kept it up the whole time.
yeah,
And what I've realized is like I've started like the size of my meals on average have been the same, which is 50 grams of carbohydrates or 30
yeah,
grams, 30 to 50 grams of carbohydrates,
right,
20 30 grams of protein every meal,
right,
and like 15 to 20 grams of fat. I've never overdone it with the fat. I have like fat free cheeses and all whenever I do.
yeah,
And that's been my general, the way I've structured my regular meal program. And that's actually
right.
worked really well. So that's been awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about it, but I found that even though we both started off with the idea of baselining and surplus and surplus and
Yeah.
surplus, even though both of us kind of found a baseline and stuck to it for a large
Yeah.
part, even though we went up and down from the baseline, I was amazed to find what just consistency,
Yeah.
just consistency
Yeah.
can do for you. Just that.
Oh, definitely, man.
Yeah.
Even like my lifts, like just I did 5x5 for somewhere around 8 to 10 weeks. I would say 8 weeks and then like 2 3 weeks more here and there. And just that consistency of having a workout, tracking my weights, and
Yeah.
ensuring that every week, not even every day, every week I'm just increasing my weight, which I'm lifting by 5 pounds, just by 5 pounds,
Yeah.
gave me
Yeah.
so much of a certain level of growth. Like my body just wanted some level of consistency, and
Yeah.
that was pretty big.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think consistency and progressive resistance, even at the smallest level,
Yeah,
just really goes. Even if it's 5 pounds a week, even if it's a few seconds less on the run, but just keeping up that progression
yeah,
consistently goes such a long way. Goes such a long way.
200%, man, 100%.
Yeah, yeah. That that being said, like even Vivek was doing it. He was trying to lose weight,
Yeah,
and he'd only do fasted cardio 3 times a
yeah,
week, and the active minutes of cardio was 13 to 10.
that's
That's
it.
it.
Wow,
That's it.
wow,
But what he ensured was progression. He ensured that if it was 13 today, it was 12 and a half the next time and 12:15 the next time. He ensured progression. I think he lost 2 kilos in 2 weeks
wow.
and like 3.5 kilos in 4 weeks and looked better and like, but just 15 minutes, like 12 to max 15 minutes of cardio 3 times a week. It was the small thing, but it was the consistency and progression that had that result, I think.
Yeah, I think that's awesome that he wanted to get healthy, bro. I think it's
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
the tough part is actually to make the decision. I think the harder part is to make the decision to work out than to actually work out. Like
Oh, for sure.
if
Yeah.
you say like, and just the fact that you have to do it every day and check something out, really like check it off your like a box or log it in or be accountable to a friend. I think that's really
Yeah, man. I think we also benefited from that. I surely did
yeah,
with like the group that we made and like the app as well, my fitness pal that you put me on.
yeah,
So helpful, yeah. Because it's like, again, I guess it's some level of accountability, self honesty. Like you have to see it
yeah,
as it is. You can't create an image of what you're doing. It
yeah.
is what you're doing that you need to look at.
And also
Yeah.
also the fact that you know so much, bro. You know so much about fitness,
Yeah.
and like just the level of knowledge in that group is really high.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And it cross movement of knowledge. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
If you were to
Different
say
elements of it.
what's your strongest pillar of knowledge? Diet,
Okay.
weightlifting, biohacking, like
Diet for sure. Diet. Yeah. I don't think I have that much knowledge in weightlifting. I just know basic form, and yeah, I'd say I know more about diet
right.
for sure. No question. Yeah. At least in my own understanding of it.
That's crazy, man. What do you think of all
Yeah.
these fads, man? Because right so far, right up till today,
Hmm.
I would say there are so many fad. Okay, there's the 5 meal a day, all macros in a meal, which is seems to be like a standard bodybuilding slash
Hmm.
health maintenance diet.
Yeah.
But then there's like fucking keto,
Hmm.
there's paleo, there's there's OMAD, there's
Yeah.
uh, intermittent, there's like all kinds of meals out there in the
Yeah.
day. If it fits your
Yeah.
macros, IIFM,
Yeah.
IFYM, like all kinds of bullshit.
I don't know about that. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's crazy how earlier those fads were about losing weight, but now it's about
Right.
putting muscle on. Like guys are so frustrated saying, "How the fuck can we put some muscle on?" That they've
Right.
got uh, 5 different kinds of workouts and like, oh, sorry, 5 different kinds of meal plans, and they're all like geared
Right.
towards the same fucking thing. It's insane. I don't even know how the fuck people do that. What do you think of it?
No idea, man. It's well, let's just say I've tried most fads myself at some stage or another. That's a good place to start from.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I've tried most of them. I've done keto like all the way, like full keto. Like keto is like keto down to the gram. I've not tried intermittent fasting to be honest, but I have done periods in life where I intuitively would skip breakfast and then after a while have something really small like a juice and have lunch.
yeah.
Uh, but though I've not actively tried intermittent fasting, 5, 6 meals a day tried, 3 meals a day tried, 4 meals a day tried. OMAD never tried. I think that requires a different kind of
I
mental
tried. I
beast
tried
to do.
OMAD for 3 days.
How did it go?
First day was awful. Second day
Yeah,
was better. Third day was better.
yeah. Oh, nice.
But it was a very different experience because after a point, like you don't feel hungry anymore. But
Right,
I can't eat that much in one meal, dude. I tried.
right,
Like
right,
to get 2,000 calories worth of food in one meal, insane.
right.
Anyway,
Just 4 Snickers bars, man, with a fork and knife. I'm kidding.
Snicker bar isn't 500 calories, man. It's 200. I need to have 10 Snicker bars.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh fuck, that's crazy.
and that's just sugar.
That's
I mean, I need
crazy.
protein as well, bro.
Yeah, no, I just messing around. But
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
I don't know. Did you just see that guy whose picture is that
Yeah,
Giles?
yeah,
Like I know him, and he's actually done it for more than a year, OMAD
yeah,
consistently. And he said he lost 2 kilos in the first 2 weeks, and then after that his body weight stabilized and no loss in body weight, no
yeah,
gain.
yeah, yeah.
And he did OMAD, but he's mad fit, and he's not going back from
I
that.
think Pushan does
He said,
OMAD as well, or did it for a bit.
I wouldn't put it past him for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
I wouldn't put it past him for sure. I don't know. So Med had done Go Mad, which I think is sadomasochistic. I'm too scared to
What's
try that.
Gomad?
Go Mad is a gallon of milk a day.
That's it. Nothing else.
No, in addition to your diet. Uh,
Dude,
dude, it's a very common bodybuilding phenomena. Go Mad is that they do 1 gallon of milk a day in addition to that. I don't know how.
I think you should
Ajay,
definitely try it, especially if you're lactose intolerant.
Ajay Kalra used to live like that, no? He do lactose-free milk in America, but 8 glasses a day.
Yeah. See, lactose
Yeah,
free is still fine. Essentially, then you're having a weird form of sugar. I
yeah,
mean, What is milk but sugar, man? A little bit of protein.
Yeah, having like a gainer shake, like a skewed carbohydrate based gainer shake. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know, man. I'm just saying, in terms of, that's weird. Having a gallon of milk a day, dude, it takes me. I get milk by the gallon, so I can actually say that it takes me.
You know what a
Yeah,
gallon
it
is,
takes
yeah.
me 8 or 9 days to finish a gallon of milk.
Yeah.
Like, and that's if I'm having milk twice a day,
Yeah.
one whole fucking glass.
Yeah.
But
You should, if you chat with Sumit sometime, ask him about
I'll ask him
Gourmet.
about
I've
it.
never had the guts to go to go there. I don't think I can do more than 2 glasses a day. I'd die.
Also depends on how you digest
Um,
milk. I think Suman digests milk well, bro. If you, like,
can anyone digest a gallon of milk a day? I don't know. Like a gallon of water a day is hard, man. My body can't digest a gallon of water a day. I'm kidding, but no. Yeah, I guess if your digestive system can take it, why not?
yeah, I would.
Um,
Yeah, I don't think anybody's digestive system can take it. Like, it's just not.
yeah.
Is that a thing? I don't. Is it a thing that he looked up on the internet and found? He's like, fuck it, I'm gonna have a gallon of milk a day.
No. Gourmet is a huge, like worldwide bodybuilding thing.
Is it like a weight gaining thing or what?
Yeah, it's a bulking
Bulking
protocol.
protocol. My God.
Read up about it. There are whole, like forums about it, and like you'd be surprised at like how prevalent and how popular or popularized something like this
It's
is.
crazy.
So I've never tried that. I tried food combinations, if you remember in
Oh, food
college. That,
combinations. Shit.
that was a wild time.
That was a wild time, man.
Um,
I would have like a kg of grapes. Like, just
Oh, yeah, you were part of it. Yeah. And the carrot blender, we blend carrot juices in our apartment. Yeah.
I was, dude, the gallon, sorry, the kg of grapes was another experience, man. I'd feel high after that. Did you ever feel high after eating those many grapes?
I don't know if you remember my skin tone that year.
Yeah.
I had really nice skin. I don't know if you had the same experience or if you
Oh yeah,
remember.
definitely,
But
100%. Yeah.
the grape thing was nuts. Yeah, you feel high for
Yeah,
a
I
long
never
time.
felt sluggish, dude. I never felt sluggish till like 4 p.m., 6 p.m., 5 p.m. in the evening. I would never feel like I wouldn't feel sluggish at all. That was really weird.
Yeah.
Like, so just to give some context, food combinations is this dietary program. Varun, why don't you take us? Why don't you intro it for us?
Yeah, basically the Chinese believe that it's not what food you eat, but how the foods combine within your digestive system that has the effect on your body. So they basically saw that certain foods digest well together and certain foods don't digest well together. But the tricky part about it is they realized carbohydrates and proteins require different digestive environments. But we're so used to having that. We're used to having rice with chicken, or like a burger which has bread and chicken, or like tandoori chicken and roti, which is carbs and protein. But they believe you shouldn't do that. They believe that they have different digestive environments. So you need to eat foods in a particular combination. So the main combinations were basically protein uh, in itself
Hmm.
with fat or with vegetables, or carbohydrates with fat or vegetables. But you don't mix strong sources of protein with starchy vegetables for sure. Starchy vegetables or starchy carbohydrates for sure. And I actually found it worked, but it was extremely hard to sustain.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
yeah.
Yeah.
What did you
No,
feel?
completely
What did
agree
you
with you,
feel?
bro. It was hard. It it really worked, but
Yeah.
there was like, it's a but there's something about it which was, um I could actually do it forever. I could do it till the end of time, but the only thing is, um it's not very good if you want to build muscle. It's decent otherwise, but just building muscle with it
Yeah.
is not very, like, it's not very probable.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's because, which is the same thing I found with paleo. I tried paleo for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Probably the best thing I've ever tried in terms of sustainability, feeling, everything.
Hmm.
And when I wouldn't lift as such, when I wasn't like into exercising a lot,
Yeah.
wow, like ideal diet,
Hmm.
like meat, a nice amount of veggies,
Oh.
some fruits, a little bit of nuts. Oh, you feel
Hmm.
so good all the time,
Yeah.
satiated, energetic. But like I feel like when you lift, you just need some level of, like, you can't hit those numbers
Just by
or that
themselves.
level of calorific intake without
Yeah.
grains,
Yeah.
in a healthy manner. It's hard. It's not impossible. It's just
Yeah.
hard. Yeah.
I think the only two diets I haven't tried is going gluten free, like for a long period of time. I've gone gluten free for like weeks at a time and stuff. In fact, I think when I when I went, when I was food combining, I would inevitably, in a way, go gluten free because I never
Hmm.
end up having
Hmm.
breads or roti or any of that stuff.
Right.
But I haven't actually actively gone gluten free
Yeah.
or vegan.
Right.
What about you? Have you tried
That's
veganism?
I haven't gone as far as veganism, but one day I was watching a Sadhguru video and I got like, yeah, I'm highly suggestible, that.
Yeah,
So I was like, here I am eating 14 eggs a day, watching Sadhguru, and I was like, he's right, man. You got to eat stuff that's far away from your own cellular structure because the memories of that creature are getting implanted in your mind. And I was like, dude, vegetarianism, I have to try this. And I tried it. I tried it for 7 days. Got a bodybuilding coach to give me a diet. And sorry, thought bubble popped up. I love experimenting. It makes
yeah,
me
yeah, yeah.
happy with anything in life. I'm not sure that I like committing to a certain thing, but I like trying it. Anyway,
Yeah.
so the bodybuilding, I tried like a full, like gram for gram protein weight, all your macros met veg diet. And I became super, super energetic. My God, like my energy was through the roof. My positivity was through the roof. I don't know if the effects were hormonal or lack of inflammation. I don't know the reason for
Yeah,
it. I felt outstanding,
yeah,
but I lost a bit of the killer instinct, which is weird. Like you don't have that. Like when you eat meat, you feel strong. I don't know whether it's the hormones in the meat, whether it's testosterone that you produce as a I don't know. I don't know what it is. Um, but energy wise, there was no comparison to
yeah,
that. But I think the drastic change dropped my immunity a bit. I should have done it staggered over time, as opposed to going from all non-veg to all veg overnight.
yeah,
Um, but I lost that that X factor strength in the gym.
yeah.
Though I could do more reps really easy, and my energy was just and mental positivity and energy was just through the roof. I don't know the entire science behind that, but I couldn't keep it up. I couldn't keep it
Yeah,
up.
bro. No, 100. No, yeah. Whenever I did strength move, like I've done vegetarian diets, but when I've like done like any kind of strength training, any kind of lifting, it's
Yeah.
really weird to me that like it's really weird to not have meat at that time.
Mm,
Just like post workout, after that level of lifting, I've associated it with meat.
right.
There's no comparison.
Right.
No comparison.
Yeah. 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 It's a thing, man. Yeah. I think it's a thing. I think one of my friends who's into this field, he told me that the difference is like we always look at protein and complete grams of protein, but he says the amino acid breakdown within the protein is
Is
different in vegetarian and non-veg. And he said non-veg sources have a higher value of leucine. So we just look at it like as you and me, even though we're interested in
mm,
fitness, I don't think both of us go as far as to see the amino acid breakdown per gram. Um, but there is a difference in that breakdown as
yeah, I
well.
think again I'm not 100% sure, maybe you can confirm, but it's also about essential and non-essential amino acids. So
Yeah, yeah,
so I
yeah.
think non-essential amino acids is something that your body like doesn't doesn't make,
Right, right.
or sorry, doesn't need to make, but essential amino
Correct.
acids are those that it needs to make, something like that.
Essential is what you can, which you can't
Yeah,
make, so you need it from
yeah,
outside, and then non-essential can either be taken from outside or can be synthesized from the essential. Basically, the essential is no way around
yeah.
other than diet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I think meat has a higher profile of essential amino acids, right?
possibly. I don't know actually, but
It has a
I would
more
assume so.
holistic amino acid profile. I know that much. I know like meats have.
That for sure. That for sure, because each part is a is a complete protein in itself, so it contains the whole gamut of
All
amino
right, I
acids.
guess we got to find out if there's more essential amino acids in meat.
For sure, man. For sure. Yeah.
Maybe we can pick
But
that up next time, bro.
yeah, Yeah, for sure, dude.
I'm transitioning out
What is
because
it?
it's
What is it
actually
like?
like 6 in the morning.
Is
I'm
it
a little tired,
is
bro.
it 8? Yeah, yeah, I figured. I was gonna say like 8 in the morning. I'm sorry. I was just having so much
No,
fun.
it's actually been a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Cool.
Thanks so much, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would have talked
Thank
more, but
you.
I'm literally like I'm losing consciousness. I'm getting
No, no,
tired,
no.
bro.
You better head. Yeah. Thanks for such a fun
Thanks,
chat.
man. I'm just gonna
And
yeah. Thanks, man. I'm just gonna stop recording for a sec.